uwager.lv, sportsbook, and casino. Sign up today at uwager.lv, the premier online sportsbook, taking wagers since 1998. The most player-friendly lines, weekly juice specials, and a true dime line in MLB. Unique casino platforms with thousands of games. Play poker, high stakes, low stakes, or tournament play. uwager.lv, what we offer. Free same-day payouts. Customer service and wagering support, 24/7, year-round. Free monthly rebates on your action and daily casino rebates. Contests, free bets, best bonuses, and giveaways. Generous referral program. Get an 80% free play bonus on your first deposit, up to $1,000. Sign up today, and use promo code SPORTSWEB. Remember, you can't win if you don't play.
on, guys? Welcome back to another edition, your happy
Hump Day
edition of the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake. How do we start out this show? Did you miss me on Monday night? I missed you. 3 things. Bring your passion. Bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. On tonight's show, I have my co-host, Mr. Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire, talking about Dave Canales, the new offensive coordinator introduced today. We'll go through those comments, talk about the rumors, because this is the most wonderful time of the year. Sorry. This is my Christmas. I love when there's free agency rumors. Don't say on this show, let's not speculate, because that's what we're going to do. Sorry about the singing voice. I'm more of a talker than a singer, if you couldn't tell. Anyway, we're going to have Mark Mancini at 10:15 of Mancini Media talking about what else around national perspective about the NFL, and also your turnbuckle talk where we talk WWE, AEW, and also the bodyguard of the Berg, Ralph Williams. But everybody wants to call up and talk about the quarterback situation. You can. Everybody wants to call about what the Bucs are going to do with cutting players. You can. Everybody wants to know if they're going to franchise Jamel Dean or Levante David. You can. Open phone line 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. New number if you can't get in, 727-409-7528. It's 727-409-7528. Want to throw an idea out at you. Wanted to do this for so many years. Sean, the Sports Don, the founding father, rest in peace, of course. He had this idea a long time ago. Instead of having host debate, because that's all you have these days on ESPN, Fox, even on this show. I debate Harry the Greek. I debate Ray Kennedy, Leo Haggerty. Why should we have all the fun? Let's give the fans the opportunity. Let's have 2 fans on Wednesday night debate each other about the hot topics of the day. What do you think about that? And we will decide, not only as fans and hosts, who's the winner. And then we'll figure out what kind of prizes we're going to give away. So what do you guys think? Yes or no? Do you like a Sean the Sports Don smack off? How about that? Sean the Sports Don smack off. Just saying. Just an idea out there. We'll throw it out there. I'll tell you what. We'll go out to the comments in a moment because I want to get out to them. But I want to get out to this guy first. Let's go ahead and get his intro on. Here we go. Professional handicapper extraordinaire on 1252 Chicago Sports. Welcome to the evolution of Sports Talk Television, my friend. How you doing tonight?
What's happening, brother?
Oh, man, lots of comments here. So I tell you what, let's go ahead and go out to those. And then the Bucs today introduced their new offensive coordinator and Dave Canales. We'll go through some of those comments. Very interesting. All you Traskites out there will love to hear that. That's what I'm calling you. The Kyle Trask, I guess I won't say, I'll say Kyle Trask fan club. That's what
Kyle.
Yes.
Kyle.
Yes.
Kyle.
I know you were going to say that. All right, let's go on to these comments. Roger Shute says, first, let's acknowledge him.
Acknowledge me.
Let's go on to Troy first. No, you're not. Going to be a great show. Super chats are open, of course. YouTube super chats and also Facebook stars. Give to the effort. If you like what I do, go ahead and give to the effort as always. Make this quick. AEW is on, and this is what you get.
This guy sucks.
Let's go out to Roger again. Make sure you hit the like button. Absolutely. John Pearson Jr. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. All right. So Roger Shue says, Pete, leave Alexander alone and do the show, you freak. I don't think there is any Alexander in this show. So once again, fake news.
This guy sucks.
I don't even know what you're talking about my dog like that for. I hope the Greek is here to save us. Save us from what? Your nonsense? That's not going to happen. We're still going to bring nonsense. Chuck Anderson says, wow, that's a cool countdown timer. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
What's up, Chucky?
Out there because we got to share the show to all the various Bucs sites because I have an announcement tomorrow on what Sports Web fans and what Bucs Nation has done for this show. So keep track of that on my wall. I really appreciate it, and I want to show you these numbers tomorrow. How high is Ray going to be tonight? I have no idea. I don't even know why you're talking about that. Christopher Cole says, hey, everyone, wow, what a difference in the press conference than that smug Leftwich. And we're going to get to that because I definitely think there was some type of energy. There's energy here tonight with me. I watched that press conference. I'm energized. Now, at the end of the day, it all comes down to what one legend would say here in the Bay Area. That would be the great Gene Deckerhoff. Until toe hits leather, we're not going to know how this offensive coordinator and what this offense can do. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Gambling drove Ray to.
Sorry, I thought we were getting back into the comments.
It's your Rolex reporter. It is. Roger says there's a bug on your wall, Peter. No, there's not. I don't know what that is. Kevin says, evening, guys. Troy says, hope my Bears draft Bryce Young, a real passer, unlike that Wildcat running back, Justina Fields. He's starting early here, isn't he?
This guy sucks.
Let's go out to Kevin. I understand the press conference. Absolutely. We'll get into that. Did they tag Dean or LVD? That's a great question. We'll get back to that in a moment. Kevin says it was very solid. I like his ideas. Roger Shue. Troy, I'm going to ban you if you keep it up. Chuck says, go ahead, say it. Troy says, haven't seen this show in days. Told you all once football season was over, Pete was calling it quits. I missed one day. You never, ever call.
This guy sucks.
I mean, honestly, let's go out to Roger Shue. Kyle Trask, quarterback 1. John says KT will have his moments this upcoming season. I don't know what that is, Chuck. Let's go out to Justin. FAEW, laugh out loud. The sports web is on. Can I say that again? Because I'm so pumped up. FAEW, which I love AEW, but compared to the sports web, it's on.
Can Kyle get an amen?
No. Corey says Russell Gage and Donovan Smith cut to save cap space. The Troll King returns himself. Tell you what, without further ado, I'm going to put you in the lobby because I want you to hear these comments from Dave Canales on your savior, if you will, Kyle Trask. Here you go, right there. Dave Canales talked about it today with Kyle Trask, him being the only quarterback on the roster and what he thinks of him. Here from this presser today on the evolution of Sports Talk Television. Enjoy.
Good question. So the way that I've been trained is they're ours until they're not. And so right now I got one Bucs quarterback. You know, it's Kyle Trask. And I can talk about Kyle for a second here. I really liked him coming out. If you look at some of the skill position players that he had there, Kyle Pitts, Kadarius Toney, he had the big return in the Super Bowl. And then you have Damian Pierce was another guy, right? Well, he was able to distribute. And the thing that we're going to help Kyle continue to build on here is to just be a point guard. Point guards don't have to be the one that score all the points. You just distribute, play on time, get the ball out of your hands. Life's better that way when you do that. And you got these bears chasing you. And if you don't like bears chasing you, then get rid of the ham. And that's the football, right? And so just teaching him those principles, allowing him to be a distributor. And the other part too about just QB philosophy and play, coming from a junior college background and high school and all that, we really didn't care if the guy was 5'10" or 6'4". I had a 6'6" quarterback. The one thing we were looking for is, can this guy play catch? And Shotty called it the me to you factor. I love that. It's just me to this guy, learning who my skill players are and being able to distribute. He's already shown he can do that. And then on top of that, it's just a really quarterback friendly system. Because of the balance of the run and the pass, we're not going to put him in harm's way a lot until, of course, you get in those situations where you got to throw it a little bit. And then we'll do that as smart as way as possible.
All right, welcome back to the evolution of Sports Talk Television. Let me bring it back in here to Mr. Harry the Greek here. Of course, Kyle Trask supporter. I think he's just playing games with me, but again, I don't expect him to come out and say he needs to work on this and work on that. He is the only quarterback on the roster, and he said it best. You don't want the Bears to chase you if you have the ham. You want to be a distributor, like a point guard. I mean, what's your take on his feeling about Kyle Trask? Because it seems like he definitely knows a little bit about him. He's followed him in college, of course. So your thoughts?
Well, everybody should know who Kyle Trask was. He was almost a first-round draft pick, but he wasn't. He was still one of the top quarterbacks taken in that draft class. And Peter Blake's words, I mean, he's definitely a victim of volume.
Okay, that's a fair point because he only
It's
He only has 9 passes in the National Football League. I'm going to change the narrative here. If the Bucs do go with them, we'll see how it works out. I have my doubts. I still think the Bucs are going to bring in a veteran option.
Of course they're going to, but
Right.
Peter, why? Okay, now let me get critical of a brand new offensive coordinator.
Sure.
Why would he say what Kyle needs to work on when they never even had a practice together?
Correct.
I mean, it's very impressive to me that he knew Kyle Pitts and the other skill position players that he was with,
Sure.
but he has never practiced with the guy. So how does he know what he needs to work on? He hasn't seen his footwork. He hasn't seen
Right.
nothing.
Right.
And in his eyes, he is the victim of volume.
Okay, fair enough. You can go ahead and go with that. I tell you what, let's go ahead and get you out of here. Let's go on to what his system is going to be
I'd love to hear that.
about. Absolutely. Asked by the great JP Peterson of the JP Peterson Show, who is a friend of the show here. Stand by. Again, Dave Canales, the new offensive coordinator, talks about his system on the evolution of sports talk television. Enjoy.
Great. So it's good. I just come fresh off of interviews and stuff, so I can kind of rattle this stuff off. But number one, it's all about the ball. So everything we do, all 11 guys on the offense, is going to be about protecting the football, whether it's in the run game, pass game, or protection. We're going to be crazy about it. One thing that hits my brain really quick, Skip Pete is going to be our running backs coach. They had 0 fumbles lost last year from the running back. Okay, so he could have started that interview with that, dropped the mic, and then he would have been hired. So that's number one. Number two is focusing on what we control. That's your fundamentals and your attitude. So we're going to be a developmentally minded staff that's looking to develop player A to player Z. Okay, they're ours until they're not. Okay, there's no catering to this guy or that guy. We want everybody to develop their fundamental skills. And then the attitude starts with effort. And that's one thing I go back to Pete, from day one, the very first day of spring, very first day of camp, we critique effort first. So we're looking for people trying really hard. We'll get the how to, but we got to get the how much and how fast going before we can really take a step from there. The third thing, it's the marriage of the run and pass. That's our identity, is things that start looking one way but end up being different. And the thing that's going to help us, without getting into too much detail, is that we're going to do things that are simple in concept, but are complex in delivery. So what do I mean by that? It's not going to be a lot of plays. It's going to be a few plays out of different personnels and different looks so that our execution stays at a high level there. And then we're going to be situationally aware. We're going to be a very smart football team. We're going to know what we're looking at, the situations, the play calls are going to come out based on the specific area of the field. The players are going to be aware. When we get this situation, we should probably only be calling this 1 or 2 plays. They'll be in tune with a lot of that stuff. And then, of course, ready to adjust. And the thing that allows you to adjust is by not having so much volume. When you keep the package tight, then you're able to adjust and make fine-tune little fine-tuning changes within a game plan so that they can continue to play fast. And the last part that'll be our calling card is finish. And you'll see linemen running down the field. You'll see Gino last year chasing Ken Walker down on runs, just trying to get his body in the way, in a smart way to keep himself safe. But you're going to see 11 people fly off the ball and really finish drives, finish quarters, finish halves, and finish games. And it starts in practice. So that's just the general philosophy of what we'll do.
All right, welcome back to the evolution of sports talk television. There's a point here that strikes me, and I think you were getting giddy about it when you were listening to it. The marriage between the pass and run game, and that was emphasized today a lot. They want to be balanced. They want to use play action. It doesn't matter if it's going to be Trask or somebody else out there. I think that is important, and he also hit it on the head when he said Skip Peete came in as a running back coach from the Dallas Cowboys and no fumbles from their running backs. They not only want to go and absolutely focus on that run game, but also focus on taking care of the ball, being smart with it at the end of the day.
Listen, I love the guy's passion, Pete. Okay, I really do. But and again, here's the flip side of it. I mean, what are people really expecting? But I mean, isn't it really easy to say that now without Brady calling the shots? I mean, you're going to see a more open environment without someone holding demands on your offense, because that's exactly what has happened, especially last year. Especially with pass, 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 pass. It
Correct.
is refreshing to hear, someone coming in and saying, "Hey, we're going to be more balanced." I mean,
Right.
what is he supposed to say, Pete?
Well, I mean, again, I think also not only saying that, but also focusing on the word development, which I think gives credence to the fact of maybe they are going to run with Trask at this juncture. Maybe they are trying to develop him. And I go back to when he was hired, people go, well, it's Pete Carroll that developed Geno Smith. No, there's a reason why this guy got a
Pete
41 years old.
Carroll couldn't develop me into a news reporter.
Well, wait a minute. I think he's a talented coach, but the point was that Canales had some say in the development of Geno Smith. 30 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. I think that's the reason why. And I think that's maybe what the Bucs are looking at possibly in developing either a Kyle Trask or somebody out there as a young quarterback.
In all fairness,
Mm-hmm.
okay, the Seattle Seahawks last year were not as predictable as what they were in years past, because when it was third down, they weren't going after DK Metcalf, if you remember correctly. You and I were talking about it with Ray sitting inside here in the living room.
Sure.
How predictable can you be if you're Pete Carroll? Russell Wilson, how dare you get rid of Russell Wilson? Oh my God. The world's going to come crumbling down. He's going to go to Denver and we're done for years. I even bought into the hype train.
Sure.
You bring in somebody else that knows how to call plays and you're not as predictable. And this is what you're going to get here in Tampa Bay. But Pete, you're giving this dude way too much credit. I mean, how about Geno Smith got better because he's been in the league for so many years?
Well, I mean,
this is the first time. This is the first time. Let's give, listen, it's refreshing to hear the right things. Okay.
Sure.
But you're going to hear that from everybody. I'm just giving you the other side of the tree here.
I get it.
Okay. Was this the hire? I implore everybody that's out there right now who's watching the show. Tell me right now if anybody ever even heard of Canales.
It's a great question. I tell you what, we're opening up the phone
But
line.
that doesn't mean he's no good.
Right.
I'm happy to have the guy.
Right.
But let's be real here. What else is he supposed to say? It is refreshing. Someone hit it on the head. It's better than listen to Leftwich, which, by the way, 99% of you wanted to be your next head coach here in Tampa Bay.
Including me. Absolutely. You're on with Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. And the reason why is because a defensive-minded coach, in my opinion, is not as successful these days as an offensive-minded coach. Just my opinion. You can throw it out there all day long if you want to. You also had this to say, I know that I'm going to take some lumps and have to learn my lessons along the way, but I'll learn quick.
He ran a simple offense there.
Right. Well,
he really did. And it's exactly the style.
He's never, to your point, with all the excitement, because he kind of reminds me of a coach by the name of PJ Fleck, who used to be a wide receivers coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, went on to have success with Minnesota in college football. And I got a chance to interview him. And his energy is just something you can't put a price on. And it excites players. And hopefully it's going to lead to more points and a better offense.
I assure you, they're going to score more points this year.
Right. To that point, he wants to finish, but also he's never called plays. So it's easy to sit here and say what you want to do. But again, and he even said, again, I'm going to take my lumps and have to learn my lessons along the way, but I'll learn quick. He also said, I'm a quick study. I have guys with play calling experience on the staff. I'm going to lean on them, bounce ideas off of them, package things. I really do respect that part of it. It's something that I'm really excited about. I really have been chopping at the bit, just trying to get an opportunity. He mentioned a name, and I've gotten the opportunity to interview him a couple times. That's Tony Dungy. Tony Dungy put in a good word for him. He's associated with them. Dungy used to say this all the time when he was coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It wasn't just him. It was the staff he put around him. Remember, Herman Edwards, Lovie Smith, guys like that, Clyde Christensen, Mike Shula at the time. Those are the coaches that he depended on. So I think it's from that tree there. Pete Carroll tree. He also worked with the Rams. So there's a lot of encouraging things. He's worked with some quarterbacks. We'll get back to that in a moment because that's interesting in itself. And also came from USC. Yes.
It's still going to be rinse, wash, rinse, repeat. Wash, rinse, repeat. And let me explain to you what I mean.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, wasn't it y'all that was complaining on how boring the Bucs offense was?
I say, can I not use that word ever again? I hate that word, y'all.
Well, I have to because we're in the South. All right, let me do a Chicago. How about yous? Didn't yous complain about how boring the Bucs offense was last year?
Utes like Joe Pesci, but go ahead there, good fella. Okay. Yeah, good fella.
I know for a fact if the Bucs are a run-heavy offense, fans will complain about the offense being too boring. Just the total opposite. Why don't we throw the ball deep anymore? Answer this question. Why do all the good coaches we have never stay here in Tampa? This is my problem with what Tampa is doing. Look, they're going to simplify this offense. This team is going to be really good. But to talk about energy levels, I don't think you need to talk about too much about energy levels when you're talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive weapons that they have and a Chris Godwin and a Mike Evans. Because if they're watching it going, Jesus Christ, man, holy shit, what's this guy going to make me run suicides all day long? You want that kind of excitement? That's not what they're looking for. Look, they're going to be a well-balanced team. I said it before the season started. I said it right after the season. You bring in somebody, and I guaranteed that Todd Bowles was going to bring in somebody to complement what this defense is supposed to do.
It's a fair
They're
point.
going to score. They're going to score points, and they are definitely going to run the football to set up the pass.
They should.
It would be,
and this team does need some energy. You know why?
It will be only one
a game. 18 points a game. This team needs energy. They need it.
And this is an 18 points a game team. I just want everybody to remember this. From a team that threw the ball in its last game over 60 times.
66 times.
Don't complain when you see a little bit more of a boring offense and they're averaging 27 points a game because it's only one of three teams that are run heavy like that with the offensive weapons that they're going to have to throw to.
To that point.
One of three teams. That's how good this team can be. But please, I don't want to hear it next year going, they're 9-3, but they're not passing it deep.
Listen, that's what he says. I'm always willing to hear complaints and conversation here on the Sports Web. You can say whatever you want to. I'm not going to ban you for complaining about the offense. Again, they got a job to do. He talked about wide receivers in motion. He talked about using those matchups. He also talked about Evans and Godwin being good against man-to-man coverage and talked about Russell Gage, which has been rumored to be cut. Tell you what, we'll get back to that in a moment in the comments. I want to read these comments from these guys right here because, again, at the end of the day, it's not only just about us, but it's also about them. And again, open phone line 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. If you can't get in on that line, 727-409-7528. Again, 727-409-7528. So let's go out to Kevin. I understand the press conference. Christopher says, do they tag Dean or LVD? Let's talk about that really quick because there was a report from Rick Stroud saying they may tag Jamel Dean, $18 million. I get it. I've heard it enough. I'm tired of hearing it. The Bucs are in cap hell. They're never going to get out of it. The world is going to end. They're not going to hit that mark by March 15th. Now that we've got that out of the way, let me put this out there. Even though there is a penalty if you go over the cap or you're not ready to do business by March 15th, there has been exactly 0 teams that have ever faced a cap penalty by the National Football League. So before you lose your mind, say the sky is falling and we're going through this and that, the Bucs over there, they're brain trust, they're smart, they understand the situation. They'll be ready. They'll be gearing up to go. I think Jamel Dean, if he needs to be franchised, it's going to be $18 million. I think he is a franchise tag that you look at. I think they will work it out. Furthermore, with all the free agents, this was an 8-win team. They need to let some of these players go. I think they'll work it out. What do you think about Dean or David at the end of the day?
I think it's going to be Jamel Dean. I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers lost Levante David, and you can thank Tom Brady for all that cap space and hell that they put him through from last year. All
Right.
that BS that surrounded it. And that's a shame because of any player, especially on that defense, this team needs Levante David. They need Levante David on this team. Flip a coin? Nope, it's not even close for me. Levante David should be the one that's going to be signed, but unfortunately, it's not going to be. It's going to be Jamel Dean.
Yeah, and I think you do. I mean, you look at his interceptions, 7 interceptions. He's shown flashes of brilliance. Tell you what, let's get out to the phone lines. Leading it off, let's go out to this man right here.
Acknowledge me.
Roger Shoe.
Mr. Roger Shoe from Newport Richie,
That's
the
right.
tribal troll. What do you have to say, my friend? Welcome to the evolution. And he's gone. I don't know. I didn't hang up on him. I swear to God, I didn't hang up on him.
Roger, he hung up on your bro.
I did not hang up on him at all. Going back to it, I still think they're going to find a way. All right, let's get out to it. Roger, go ahead. Stop hanging up on me.
He hung up on your bro.
Guys,
Acknowledge
I
your
did
super
acknowledge.
chat.
Acknowledge me.
Yes, a super chat here, which, by the way, you can give. There you go. That's $10 from Roger Shoe. Thank you very much. Trask, Rookie
Troy?
of the Year.
Troll, that's how you help out the show.
Yes.
That's how you help Peter.
Yes. I
Try it
appreciate that.
sometime.
Yes, there you go. Good stuff. I appreciate that,
You
Roger.
talking about your Peter, or are you talking about Peter Blake?
Oh, God.
This guy sucks.
Oh, God.
Yeah, good stuff. Oh, good
All right.
stuff, Harry. Way to
Greek.
go. Yes.
Okay, Greek. All
Yes,
right.
sir.
I'm proposing a bet to you. $100. Okay, that the Buccaneers go 7-10 this season.
They win. I'll guarantee you, I'm taking the over on that one.
Wow. Why? Explain
Okay.
yourself. Expound.
I'll tell you exactly why that's going to happen. And I just said it earlier. I mean, this team is one of 3 teams that are going to be a run-heavy team with those type of offensive weapons that you're not going to be able to guard. You're going to be defenses are going to fear the run game from Tampa Bay. You really have no clue what kind of a run team, what kind of run game that Tampa Bay is going to have with White. Forget about Fournette. I hope they send him packing. Lombardi Lenny, don't let the door kick in the ass on the way out, and bring in even another running back, someone who can run the ball with him. Or wait a minute, someone that actually knows how to catch a pass. I'm not going to get off on a tangent. They're going to be a run-heavy football team. They're not going to know what to do with Mike Evans and or Chris Godwin. They're just defenses are not going to know what to do with them because they're going to have to play the run. You think Seattle was a surprise team? Wait till you see what Tampa does.
Well, I want to throw this statistic out there, guys. Seattle's rushing offense, which, by the way, Tampa Bay's was 32nd. They averaged 4.8 yards a carry. He talked about it today, not only having the talent, he talked about Rashard White. We'll get back to that in a moment. Roger, go ahead.
Well, back to Godwin and Evans. One of them is going to the Bears.
No, they're not, because
Zero.
here there's 0 opportunity, 0 chance for that. Also, my friend.
Why is there 0 chance?
I'm going to explain this to you because both of those wide receivers are a $23 million cap hit. The only savings that Evans would have would be $2 million. First and foremost, if you're bringing in a young quarterback like a Kyle Trask or even a veteran, what sense does it make to get rid of your best weapons at the end of the day? You're not saving any money. You're already in cap hell. So let me get this straight. Hold on. You trade Mike Evans and you take a $21 million cap hit. That puts you in more debt. No way. It's not happening.
Wasn't that you that said this 2 weeks ago, Peter, that if Kyle Trask, which, by the way, I'm glad you're starting to, it's rolling off your tongue a little bit better.
Kyle Trask.
Yeah, Kyle Trask. I know it's how it's rolling off. But it wasn't you that said if they go ahead and bring him in, that you just might as well break and tear the whole thing down?
I would say I could see definitely other places you could tear it down. Because, see, I'm going back to the premise, and let me go full screen here on this, because fans are saying collapse for Caleb. And I'm saying if you want to do it right. Tear it all down. Get rid of all your main players. Get as many picks as you can and hope that you win 1 to 3 games this season. Well, what you have, if you truly want to draft number 1 overall, do it right. Don't do it half-assed. If you want to go full rebuild, tear it all down.
Yeah.
Leave nothing.
The Bears did it right.
Right. I mean, that's what they were close in their games. They nearly won some of those games. But again,
how about 7 of the 11 games? They were one score out.
Correct.
That's
That's
freaky.
why we're going to win the NFC North this year.
Well, let me ask
I
you
don't
this,
know about
Roger. The big time rumor, because we talk all NFL teams on this show, especially the Chicago Bears, and now having the number 1 overall pick. The rumor that was floating around by J.C. Cornell
Oh,
of the Draft
God.
Network, Justin Fields to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Colin Cowherd pointed it out. Fields
Peter.
is 0-7. Hold on, let me finish. 0-7 in conditions of 40 or under. He doesn't like to play in the cold. I mean, would you consider the Bucs trading the house for Justin Fields? Yes or no?
Harry,
Yes.
you answered that first.
I'll take it. You want to trade the house? You want to give me Godwin and you want to give me
You Godwin.
Evans? Hold on. You want to give me Godwin and Evans and multiple draft picks? God bless you. You could take them.
We'll give you
There's a quarter.
plethora of picks. How about that?
good.
Legal
And
word. Yeah.
There you go, a plethora,
that?
and put them behind that putrid offensive line, and don't fix that either, okay? Because Justin won't even finish the season. Stop it. I don't care if it's Alan Pighill or Cowhead, whatever the hell his name is, or Colin Cowhead, or what's his name again?
Colin
Cow tongue.
This
Okay.
guy sucks.
I'm kidding you. I could care less.
Colin Cowherd of the Herd on Fox Sports. Come on, respect him. I'm a fan.
I'm supposed to respect them. Again, I am not a
sure,
sports reporter. I'm a prognosticator. I only tell you what I see with these 2 eyes.
Right.
Look,
and with
man.
those same 2 eyes, you were the guy that was saying, "Oh, Mitchell Trubisky, he's the next coming." Yeah.
No, I didn't say he's the next coming. I said he's a lot better.
Justin Fields.
Well, he's not. He's not better than Justin Fields. I'm sorry, Justin Fields.
Not as a quality player, no. But
Mitchell Trubisky should be the backup to Fields.
Mitch is a backup. What are we talking about here? Finish your point. Justin Fields to the Bucs. Are you okay with trading him to another team or the
It
Bucs?
all depends
on what you're going to get.
I'm on. Yeah.
To me, it should be an easy no. I mean, because Justin Fields is one of the best young.
I will say no.
He is one of the best young quarterbacks in the league. Period.
All right, since we've gone out on a tangent and left Tampa and went to Chicago, let me tell you my thought on something.
Go ahead, go for it.
Chicago is going to move twice, if not 3 times, in this upcoming year's draft. Okay, they're going to go to number 2 to Houston. They're not going to get any players. They're going to get a plethora of picks. And from position number 2, they're going to go to number 4 with Indianapolis, and they're going to end up getting DeForest Buckner. And by the way, a boatload of picks. And if they're smart, they trade back all the way to Carolina, and this is all assuming that Derek Carr doesn't go to any of these 3 teams.
Sure.
And now they picked up, are you ready, ladies and gentlemen, 9 to 10 additional draft picks, which 2/3 of them will be first-round picks in this year's draft. I'm sorry, and in future years' drafts. Now, let me ask you this. You don't get rid of Justin Fields. Hold on. Now, you surround him with more talent.
Agree.
Now, if he doesn't have the season and he's not your quarterback of the future, now who has more draft capital than that team? And I don't care where they finish in the draft, that could actually move up and get the quarterback that they want next year, who, by the way, is the quarterback that everybody wants. What really? Trade them all away.
Said, Mr. Cleveland Browns, because the Browns had all kinds of picks. You have to make good picks at the end of the day. So it doesn't matter how much draft capital it makes.
I have faith in polls, Pete.
I think you do, and that's
I have faith in polls.
Do you believe?
Polls has put out some good kids.
Let me ask you this, and I'll ask both of you guys because you're Bears fans. We're on the Sports Web Air. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Harry, the Greek professional handicapper extraordinaire. Of course, Roger Shue, the tribal troll. Do you believe that Poles is playing chess at this point, where he's just trying to gauge interest on Fields? He's not really going to trade him, or
Fields ain't going anywhere, Pete.
Okay. What do you think about these two? What do you think about these two? Look, I told you, don't say I'm crazy. This is the most wonderful time of the year. Speculation, rumors, everything else. Harry, what do you think of both of these quarterbacks that are being rumored that the Bears would take? C.J. Stroud or, of course, Brian Young?
Listen, I like both quarterbacks, but I can't see them going after another Ohio State quarterback. If they really were truly going to go after a quarterback, I think they're going to go from the kid from Kentucky because of his athleticism, because of the fact that he can throw the deep ball, and he's really designed more of a pocket passer, who, by the way, has wheels. Both the other side quarterbacks are identical quarterbacks to a Justin Fields, with the exception from the young man from Alabama. He's shorter, he's smaller. He's definitely not a Justin Fields. And listen, man, they're not getting rid of Justin Fields. I mean, let's just stop the
Nope.
nonsense.
No way,
It's
no
not
how.
happening.
I'm
You
gonna
know,
throw it
if
out there.
Tampa, if there's a team out there that wants to back up the Brinks truck, take them. You know what? You're the chef of the shit soup. Here, let me help you out a little bit. Okay, chef?
All right.
Let me
Peter.
help.
What
Let
else,
me help
Roger?
you out here, Peter.
What else,
All right,
Roger?
Pete.
Kyle
With
Trask.
this whole
Okay.
with this
Yes.
whole Kyle Trask thing,
Yes.
who would you rather have as QB1 for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this coming season?
Okay.
Justin Fields or Kyle Trask?
Justin Fields, easily. Are you serious? Is that
Why?
is that even a question?
Why?
Because you have a better offensive line. Okay, I'm going to go full screen here really quick. Okay.
Don't go off on him.
Justin Fields or Kyle Trask. Is that even a question at the end of the day? First, you got a better offensive line. You got two of the best wide receivers in the National Football League. And you got
Not two of the best. Stop. Two of the better wide receivers.
Please.
Two of
Please.
the better wide receivers.
Well,
You just said
Peter,
two of the
remember,
best. You
you
got to
have
stop.
no idea what Kyle Trask can do on the football field.
True.
I know what Justin Fields can do on the football field, and that's the point at the end of the day. And again, better
Then
weapons.
why? Okay.
Hold on.
all
You
of the
asked me a
trash you talk
question.
off
You
the air
asked
to
me.
me
You
is
asked
you're
me.
saying it's all bullshit now.
What's that about Justin Fields?
All of the trash you talked to me off air about, and so now you're saying that's all bullshit.
I
You
have
love Justin Fields now.
I have never talked trash to you about Justin Fields. What I said
Oh
is
my God, you are lying so bad.
Your organization has to do a better job of building around him, putting an offensive line around him,
agree.
putting weapons around him. He's got the mobility. He's one of the most talented young quarterbacks in the league. I think he's the comparison of Jalen Hurts, and I would take him in a heartbeat. And if you have to give up multiple first-round picks in order to get Fields over a Trask, I'm doing it all day
Peter,
and every day. It's not even close.
I need to correct you on one thing. You said
Sure.
you're comparing him to Jalen Hurts.
I am.
No, Peter. He's better than Jalen Hurts.
Well, that remains to
Thank
be
you,
seen.
Greg.
That
No,
remains to be seen at this
He
point.
is
That's the
better than
comparison.
Jalen Hurts.
Why is he better than Jalen Hurts?
Because his athleticism is better. His deep ball passing accuracy is better. You just haven't seen it yet. I have. I've watched the tape.
Damn.
And I don't know.
I agree with the
Let's not compare not only just the offensive scheme. Let's compare the talent that he's had around him compared to one Philadelphia team. Give me a break, man.
Well, that's a good point, but I will tell you this also with Dave Canales coming in as an offensive coordinator, him working with Russell Wilson, and also what he did. Hold on. What he did with Geno, shut up. What he did with Geno Smith and developing him, I think he can do the same thing with the Justin Fields. I'm not ruling out with Kyle Trask. I just see more potential, more upside at the end of the day. I know what I got with Justin Fields.
I just don't want to be an unproven. I just don't want an unproven quarterback. I mean, let's be real. That's what you call Madden general manager.
That's okay. I play Madden. You know what?
Okay.
I play Madden. You put all these you put all these things out here, and you don't even know what you're talking about when it comes to play Madden. So I am a Madden general manager. I'm not afraid to admit that. I'm also sometimes somewhat of a fan.
I understand you might play the game,
right?
Okay, on a joystick. I played the game on the green, but I also heard your buddy kicks your ass in Madden too.
Are you
just throwing that out there?
Well, let me ask you this: are you a chef?
Love it.
Yeah. Well, do you have to be a chef in order to know something tastes like? Of course you don't. So that whole point of, well, I played the game and you haven't, that doesn't matter. And I could beat you,
Peter.
Yeah.
Peter talks about sports because he can't play them.
That's not nice.
I never said I could. What? I mean, did I come on this program, Roger Shue, and tell you I could play sports? Have I ever said I'm the best?
No, but you're quick to say that I was wrong.
No, I said.
Yes, you did.
What did I say you were wrong
All right,
about?
So, okay, real quick, and I'll let you guys go. Greek, Levante David, or who's getting the franchise tag?
I think it's Jamal Dean. I do. Peter, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's Jamal Dean. I mean, if they're going to do that tag, it's going to be $18 million. Of course, they're going to have to free up. That's going to be Donovan Smith. Most likely will be cut. He's going to cost.
But who would you tag, though? Now that that's said, who would you rather have tagged?
Jamal Dean. He's 26 years old. He's a corner. You can't teach size and length. He's got that. We've seen him and how he shuts down wide receivers. Maybe he doesn't necessarily have the interceptions, but when you're not throwing in his direct vicinity or in his area, that's promising. And then furthermore, We know Todd Bowles and what he thinks about that back end at the end of the day, how important it is. You have Carlton Davis, you have Jamel Dean, you have Zion McCollum. Maybe you draft a corner. Maybe it stops you from drafting a corner at number 19. You could always have that luxury. But at the end of the day, yes, it is a passing league.
How about Levante David to the Bears?
That is a possibility. He was earmarked, believe it or not. He was earmarked.
If he goes to another team, he's going to a team to win a championship. Do you think he's going to win a championship with the Chicago Bears?
Well, if that was the case, Peter, they have a better chance here in Tampa right now with the surrounding cast that they have. So he would actually take less money to stay here. So
I think he would.
So that's something you shouldn't really say. I think he's going to follow. He's going to get one more payday.
I don't know. I think he'll stay here. I think he'll stay here for less money. I do. I think he'll stay for less money.
And you know what? And let's talk about this. And I'm glad we said it. You'd rather keep a Jamal Dean. I personally, and I understand where you're coming from. I don't want an older Levante David, but Jamal Dean wouldn't have the success that he has if it wasn't for the front seven for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And Levante David has been their most consistent defensive player on this. I mean, and let's be real. Nobody gives Todd Bowles any credit for developing all these DBs that nobody even knew coming out of the draft. Let's just talk about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a very
the Bulls made 3 stars at DBs: Winfield, Dean, and Davis. Correct. So don't tell me I don't know what I'm talking about.
I didn't say you know what you were talking about.
Okay, so let's talk about Levante David.
I corrected you when it came to Mitchell Trubisky.
Well, now let me correct you and other people that are out there.
You want to stick me with Kyle Trask? I'm going to stick you with Money Mitch. How about that?
Who would you rather? Let me ask you this: who would you rather have, Pete?
Yeah,
Money Mitch or Kyle Trask? Pete, go ahead, say it. It'll make you feel better. The truth shall set you free.
I'd rather have Money Mitch, honestly.
See.
But that's not a great comparison.
Hold on. But hey, relegate to it, bro. You don't have the money to spend for it. You need to succumb to your own feelings.
Kobe Brissett.
Our Kyle, who art in heaven. You just need to remember that.
I'll give you another quarterback that's out there that nobody's talking about.
Amen, Kyle.
Ryan Tannehill. We shut up and be quiet. Ryan Tannehill of the Tennessee Titans
That's a viable option.
I like that option a lot. He's got mobility. He's shown in the league.
I'd rather have Kyle, though.
Okay. All right. Roger Shue, thanks a lot for the call. Appreciate the YouTube chat. Let me go ahead.
Do you know what they call now that you brought up Mitch Trubisky, do you know what they called Mitch Trubisky?
What do they call
back at UNC?
What do they call him?
Instead of Money Mitch, it was Motorboat Mitch.
Motorboat Mitch. So, yeah, he definitely motorboated the Chicago Bears out of the opportunity to get Patrick Mahomes. Oh, don't forget that. Oh, that hurts. Ouch.
Oh, that was his fault, right?
He's the guy that you drafted over Patrick Mahomes. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
Oh, and Deshaun Watson.
Can we not talk about Deshaun Watson?
How come nobody said anything about that? Hang on. But hold on. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
You want to talk shit? I'm going to give it to you right now. You ready?
Give it to me.
Okay. Mitchell Trubisky had more wins than Deshaun Watson.
Okay.
And everybody's like, you could have had Deshaun Watson. What did he do?
Is that true? Because I vaguely remember that Deshaun Watson won a national championship and had more starts than Mitch.
I'm not talking about something that was what they call insignificant. Okay. I'm talking about significance being in the National Football League.
Oh,
let's talk about wins.
Oh, you mean when he was sitting out for 2 years? Oh, okay.
No.
Well, yeah.
All the way up to time before he sat out, Mitchell Trubisky had more wins. Look it up, Mr. Professor.
Yeah, you like that? That's good. All right, let's go on to the comments. You're an ass. I love it.
This guy sucks.
All right. Motorboat, baby.
Let's see here. All right. Very solid. I like his ideas. Roger Shue. Troy, I'm going to ban you if you keep it up. Okay. I think we read some of these comments already. So let me go ahead. Get out to this one right here from Corey, Russell Gage, Donovan Smith.
Just figured it out. I just figured it out, Pete.
What?
Now I know why you hate Kyle Trask so much.
Why is that?
Full screen, please.
Okay, full screen. Here you go. Go ahead on your diatribe. No, it's really not, because I'm going to tell you right now, again, and I can.
You hate the Gators.
Oh, that's the thing. There have been plenty of Gator players in Bucs history that I like. Eric Rep was one, of course. You got Riedel Anthony, Jaquez Green, Kevin Carter, being one. If they give you Vernon Hargreaves at the time, didn't like the pick, but if he gives you the best opportunity to win, I'm okay with it. So Kyle Trask, once again.
He fooled me, by the way. Vernon Hargreaves, I really thought he was going to be an absolute stud.
Yeah, well.
And instead, he was an absolute dud.
Yeah, it was an absolute dud. Couldn't cover and couldn't tackle. So he did both things equally worthless. Let's go. Russell Gage, Donovan Smith. Who's more likely? I think it's Donovan Smith. I mean, again, $15 to $18 million.
Who are they going to replace them with, though, man?
Well, and I'll give you one today because Taylor Lewan was cut by the Tennessee Titans.
I've seen that. But doesn't he have a couple of bad knees?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. But with that being said, you could do two things. You can move him there, draft a left tackle, so you don't necessarily have to play that left tackle right away at 19, or you can move Tristan Wirfs and draft a right tackle. That's what I'm saying. I'm throwing it out there. Taylor Lewan, I think, if
you know what,
healthy, right.
I got to tell you something. Now that you brought that up,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I'm not trying to plug someone else's show, but I would absolutely love to hear what Ryan Jensen thinks about cutting Donovan Smith. I honestly hope, Pete, that they actually ask him that question. I don't want no pussyfoot questions. I want direct questions. I want to know about Tom Brady. But you know what I really want to know?
What's that?
What do you think about your teammate for so many years is getting cut? Your starting left tackle. Maybe you can get some insight on what happened. Maybe he might be able to extrapolate the information. That's what's needed. Because I'll tell you what, I still want to know what was wrong with him last year because I've never seen him play that poorly. I mean, man, that guy showed so many flashes of brilliance. He really did throughout his career. But then he just looked so vulnerable and out on an island like he was lost completely.
Well, it goes back
who are you going to replace him with?
Well, you could replace him with the rookie with the way he played last year, being one of the most penalized players in the National Football League, whether he was dealing with an injury or not. But I always go back to this statement from BA. BA said it best. He tries to knock the hell out of somebody and lose his technique. That has been him. He has regressed. He regressed last year. He cost this team in critical situations, and I think the Bucs may move on from him. So Donovan,
what do you replace him with? The young man from Tennessee.
I would go with the Tristan Wirfs. You can go two ways.
He's not a left tackle, Pete. I love Tristan Wirfs.
He's played it in college. You could go with that because here's the problem. If you go with the left tackle, Jonathan, the Orlando Pace. Guys like that are not growing on trees. They're not going to come in right away and be a rookie and be a starting left tackle. So, that's the problem. I think it's Jonathan Odom.
I don't know why you would move something that's already working at the right tackle. Jonathan Ogden.
Yes.
So, but just listen to my theory on this. If that was the case, and Tristan Wirfs truly would be a better left tackle, it's a lot easier playing the right side.
Correct.
Why didn't they switch already from last year?
It's a great question, but maybe they will switch, or you sign a veteran like a Lewan and you draft somebody in 19 or the second round to groom.
I haven't seen a right tackle graded, and I know I know I'm going to kill myself when I say this. The PFF grades are so high on Tristan Wirfs on the right side.
They should be.
It's the highest that I've seen since Kyle Long out of Chicago. That's how good he is.
He is.
So I don't see them trying to break that. But if that was the case, they would have switched left tackle and right tackle. So again, I posed this question. Give up on that pipe dream. Tristan Wirfs not going to be your left tackle when he's so good on the right side. It would be, you never want to fix something that's not broke.
But
who do you bring in, though? Is there someone currently on the roster? Do you think they're going to get someone in the draft? I mean, because honestly, I could see him drafting a left tackle this year. And the reason why I'm saying it is because you're not going to be a pass-heavy team. And you even know this, that it's easier to run the football for run blocking than it is to pass block.
Sure.
Go back and watch Chicago. How crappy was that offensive line?
Oh,
wait a minute. The first half of the season, it was absolutely putrid.
Sure.
Toward the second half of the season, did you know they were one of the highest rated offensive lines in football?
Well, because they ran a lot.
There you go.
And that makes sense. But there's also a danger, Harry, when you put a left tackle that is a rookie, there's going to be some growing pains. So whomever is back there, quarterback, whether it's Kyle Trask or another veteran,
I
Are
like
you
the way that sounds coming off your tongue.
Just saying, I'm just throwing it out there. Don't lose your mind on this. I'm coming to the realization that it may be. I'm okay with that. I told you, whatever gives you the best chance to win. And stop saying it's my Florida State bias showing, because it's
It
not.
is.
Because
It is.
Warren Sapp is one of the best players in Tampa Bay Buccaneer history, even though, he was a kind of a dick to me. That's all right. He's a dick to everybody, but he's a Miami Hurricane. Okay. So it doesn't matter. Warren Sapp.
Oh, he's a dick to everybody. I
Well, that's
love
what I
I
said.
love telling
That's what I
people
said.
that story. I
mean,
don't
I
flick.
think right. Okay. All right. So with that being said, Russell Gage, Donovan Smith, who do you cut more likely? Gage making $10 million, possibly a cut there, or Donovan Smith, which I think Donovan Smith more than likely. I think they're going to move on.
I don't think they should cut Donovan Smith, even though
Wow.
he had such a bad year.
Okay.
It's hard to find offensive linemen, especially ones that have had success. He's not on the other side of his age yet. And I think a coaching change per se that he has, especially with this new offensive coordinator that's coming in, a new design of saying, hey, you're not going to have to drop back and try not to give up the cheeks, as Blake Anthony always said, 60 times in the course of a game. He's a hell of a run blocker, Pete. He's not bad.
I don't know. All right, so let's go out to Troy here. Bucs are interested in signing Cowboys' best quarterback, Cooper Rush. I don't know if that's going to happen. Amen. Kyle John says, love it. Just be a distributor. John, again, Brady was big on distributing the ball to his key players. Very true. Christopher O'Reilly heard chirps of bringing in Drew Lock. That has been assumed, and it goes back to this because I was putting this out there yesterday, kind of stirring it up a little bit. Geno Smith was the one that reported that Thad Lewis, who is now the new Bucs quarterback coach, he reported this. He said, my boy Thad Lewis got the Bucs quarterback coach job. Bro, that's crazy. So happy for the progress of everyone in our camp. I was a freshman in high school starting quarterback on varsity, went to watch HML versus Northwestern, and Thad was quarterback at HML. 3 years ago, we spoke this up. Dave Canales worked with Geno, talked about Geno today. Geno has not been signed. He's a free agent. I get it. The money aspect, please, for the love of God, don't talk about money because I'm not a capologist, but I understand there is some limitations. Is there a possibility that Geno Smith would come to Tampa Bay simply because of getting paid something, no matter what that is? Who knows that the Bucs will be able to afford it? The average of what they're saying right now is $34 million, so I'm not sure the Bucs could afford that. But Geno Smith in a Bucs uniform with Dave Canales and, of course, Thad Lewis, his friend, is that a possibility?
Well, if they're going to spend $34 million, then dig deeper in your pockets and save a whole bunch of money and go out and get Derek Carr. But to answer your question, Geno Smith, of the quarterbacks that are currently on this roster and what looks like might be able to come to Tampa Bay, would probably be the most viable option for this team and the most successful option that they would have. But the probabilities of that are very slim, in my opinion. And I think they're going to try to save the money to see what they have behind door number one and not door number two. But since we brought that up, because the question had something to do with Drew Lock, Peter, I'm going to ask you a question.
Go for it.
Would you rather have Drew Lock or Kyle Trask?
Kyle Trask.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've seen enough of Drew Lock. Yes, there is a possibility you could turn
Truth
him out.
shall set you free. You
I'm
see,
just saying-
Kyle? You see, Kyle? I'm your supporter here. But he
throwing-
thinks you're better than Drew Lock.
I think he's better than Drew Lock because I've seen enough of Drew Lock. Although, with that being said, he would have an advantage over Trask because he would know this offense. He would be familiar with a Dave Canales. So, and you can see the potential. He's got arm potential. He's never shown it. And I don't know. He has what he is to me. I don't know.
Brother. Kyle Trask is
Oh,
the
geez.
victim
You're
volume.
You're killing me with this
This guy
nonsense.
sucks.
All right, let's go out to Roger.
I
Shoe.
love
Got-
the last comment, the second to the last comment.
All right, I'm going to read these comments. Bucks got, Bears got all the mo. Corey King says Kyle Trask better than Felipe Franks, quarterback Falcons. Felipe Franks is a tight end now, Corey. I don't know what you're talking about. He's not even a quarterback. Where do you think Aaron Rodgers will go? Saying we heard now recent reports would suggest that Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers, they're disgusted with him. And now comes word today that if Aaron Rodgers is all in with the Green Bay Packers, that the Packers would be on board with bringing him back. Where do you lie with this? Because, it has been the same song and dance, and the main song should be, should I stay or should I go when it comes to Aaron Rodgers? I feel like you got to move on from him. You got to trade him. He is still playing at somewhat of a high level, but you got Jordan Love, who you drafted a couple years ago in the first round. You got to see what you have. What's your take on this situation?
They never should have signed Aaron Rodgers to that huge contract and gave him all that money, number one. Number two, Aaron Rodgers has been a douchebag for the past 3 or 4, the past 5 or the past 10 seasons, okay? And it's gotten worse. I talked about Brady holding the team hostage. This guy has held the team hostage, unlike the likes of any quarterback ever. I've never seen anybody do to a team what Aaron Rodgers has done. He completely screwed the pooch. You talk about a money-hungry, egotistical idiot. That's Aaron Rodgers. Pay me my money, get rid of my players because you can't afford to put anybody around me, and then complain about it. Here, I got a good idea for you, Aaron. Go drink some Kratom and tell me how you're feeling about your inner peace and spirit. But to answer your question, Pete, they should move on from him, but they won't. They can't. There would be a mutiny in Wisconsin.
Wow.
I would love it. There would be a mutiny in Wisconsin from the fans. Some of the fans can't stand them because they see the same thing that you see, I see, and opposing teams' fans see. They
see a declining quarterback, but on top of it, you see a prima donna quarterback.
He doesn't fit. He does not fit in that offensive scheme. Do you know who Aaron Rodgers' scheme would fit with?
Who?
Go ahead. Just take a guess who's not employed as a head coach anymore. What's his name? Bruce Arians.
Bruce Arians, the risk it, no biscuit.
Would absolutely, he'd be MVP for 3 straight years.
All right, I got
that's how good he is.
I don't know.
They need to move on, but they won't.
Okay, well, they hung up, but I don't know who that was. Somebody was calling me there. That was interesting in itself. Guy has an idea and focus on what he wants this offense to be. I dig it. Good stuff, Kevin. Thanks a lot for tuning in. As always, very impressed with Mr. Canales so far. We'll get back to him in a moment. Some other comments here that were interesting. Trade Trey Lance, Zach Wilson, Jordan Love, or just start Kyle Trask, rebuild him. Okay, let's go ahead and address this. Trey Lance, to me, you give up 3 first-round picks if you're the 49ers. You got to see what you have. I don't think Brock Purdy is going to be ready. Zach Wilson, listen, here's another guy if you want me to throw out there. Kyle Trask, Zach Wilson. I'm taking Kyle Trask. Sorry.
Shut up!
Jordan Love, I would take Jordan Love over Kyle Trask, but I don't think Green Bay is going to allow him to get out because he is the future. Those quarterbacks.
They have to pay him this year.
I love Trey Lance. Okay, I like.
Okay, but where's the money coming from Jordan Love? If they keep Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love is going bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So there's a possibility there they could deal him. That would be somebody who would be interested. Zach Wilson, he's not mature. He's not a mature quarterback. He needs to learn. He needs to go the Alex Smith trip. And I think Alex Smith was very mature. He just needs to go somewhere. Maybe he needs to sit like Jameis Winston did behind a veteran quarterback and learn the game, learn the intricacies of the game, get more mature as a leader, because what I saw from the Jets was a complete disaster. And Trey Lance, I love the potential you haven't seen, and I don't think the 49ers are going to give up on him. Big arm, mobile. Can he get it done? We shall see with the 49ers. Good stuff there, Corey. Let me go ahead and give it the Macho Man.
Yeah.
Kevin says night and day from Coach Leftwich. Corey again. Bucs need to rebuild offensive line around Kyle Trask. Agree with that? Reload and rebuild offensive line.
Preaching. He must have been listening to me.
Corey, your son that you never had right there. Wentz coming to the Bucs. There's another guy right there. Carson Wentz or Kyle Trask?
I'm going to ask you, who do you like
Kyle
better?
Trask over Carson.
Oh, okay.
I've seen enough of Carson Wentz at this point. Listening to you guys is a version of Good Cop, Bad Cop. Good stuff. Love it. Thank you very much.
Flawless victory.
Ralph says, and simplicity is the key. I mean, I think that's what it is, right? I mean, you have this confusing offense with BA and Leftwich, and now you have a simplistic offense. I mean, I still think it's going to be complicated to learn, but what I get out of this press conference is that Canales is saying this is quarterback friendly. In fact, I'll tell you what, let me put you in the lobby really quick. Let's go out to those comments about quarterbacks working in the system. Stand by here. Canales had some comments today. about quarterbacks and how they work in the system and the past here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. Enjoy.
Oh yeah, just what shocked me about that was the toughness and the style that he ran, because I saw him as this like versatile guy who you could run routes with out of the backfield, split him out wide and do some things like that, plus the run game. But then you see his attitude, in person in Germany, and just see the style that he ran downhill. He was aggressive, the violence that he played with, and you go, wow, this guy could be special. He's got some great skill sets that really fit into our system.
Okay, that was not the comments there. Let me go out to these comments. That was Rashard White, but we'll get back to that in a moment. Here are his comments about quarterbacks working in his system all the way back in USC. Enjoy.
Absolutely. So, and that's where the system has proven itself. It's a style of play. So if I go back to SC for a little bit, right, you just start rattling off the quarterbacks that came out of there, going back to Carson Palmer, and you had Matt Leinart, then here comes John David Booty, and then Mark Sanchez. Matt Barkley falls into that category as well. One guy after the other, highly touted, gets a lot of accolades, when really it's a system that's friendly for the quarterback. Just drilling that timing of getting the ball out, right? And then having the balance of the run game. I heard Sean Payton say this the other day. I thought it was brilliant. He said, you got to take the quarterback off the high dive, and so I thought that was a brilliant way to put it. That guy you can't be leaning on him to make every single play all the time. And the best way to do it is just hand it off to your talent in the backfield. So teaching the quarterback how to win was critical. And that's where my training from Carl Smith, I mentioned Tater, we call him Tater affectionately, but he really taught Russell how to win, how to manage the game. And people can be critical of Russ in different areas of his game, but the one thing he's done is he's won, and with the exception of this past year, he's won at a really high level. And Gino spent a couple of years just sitting behind that, watching it. It's like, I can do that. I can manage that. And then Gino allowed us to open up the playbook a little bit with some of our past stuff that he was a little bit stronger in. So we just tilted it a little bit this way or that way based on who the quarterback was. So we're always trying to look for a way to put the quarterback in his comfort zone and build from there.
All right, welcome back to the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. A lot to kind of unpack there, if you will. Rashard White certainly seems like he's got big-time plans. Of course, had one of his best games against the Seahawks defense in Germany. Of course, with the stiff arm, the angry runs. I think he's got lots of potential. I think that's the reason why the Bucs could absolutely move on from Leonard Fournette. And then going back to the quarterbacks in the system, comfortability. Keeps on bringing up Geno Smith. I'm just saying. Keeps on.
Who was he supposed to talk about? Jay Cutler, Trent Dilfer?
I'm just saying. He keeps on.
He even brought up, Russell Wilson. FYI, okay, he was a winning quarterback at Wisconsin. He had bums around him. Give me a break.
Right, I agree with you on that.
Stop this with the Geno Smith stuff.
I'm just saying.
I would love to see Geno come to Tampa, Pete. It would be the best option right now for what they can afford. But in all reality, for just a couple $1 million more, I'm that used car salesman, you could get yourself a Derek Carr.
I would take Derek Carr. I told you that. I would already take Derek Carr if you can get him. Of course, the Jets are thinking
what you need to do is go out and go grab you a Davis Mills. There's your quarterback, sir.
What about a Jimmy Garoppolo or Ryan Tannehill? Tannehill is
okay, in my opinion.
Okay.
I still would rather. It's a good option, but I'd still rather to see what's behind door number one with Kyle Trask, because I already know what I'm getting with Tannehill.
Gardner Minshew?
No.
And not Jacoby Brissett. I like Brissett.
Oh, Jacoby Brissett?
Yeah, I like Brissett. I mean, he's to me, he's a perfect quarterback to hand the ball off. He was 12-6, 12 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, has mobility. I'm just saying, throwing it out there. Make fun of Pete Carroll all you want. He's not the one getting high, staying.
Let me see if you fog a mirror.
13 games.
You fogged the mirror? Okay. You fogged the mirror. You could play quarterback.
Shut up!
Y'all having a great show. Absolutely. Bucs will be 7-10 this year if you're lucky. David says, Peter, did you ever watch what Warren Sapp said? What did he say? Did he talk about Justin Fields? I don't know what he said. Give me the clue here. Draft linebacker Sanders from Arkansas. That's certainly a possibility. Transfer from Alabama. Could be a linebacker.
Good player.
JTS. Yeah, a JTS also kind of underperformed, so maybe they look in a different direction.
So, Russ, are you saying you want to draft defense in your first pick? Because I sure think they need to go offense, especially on that line.
Yeah. Oh, and he also said tight ends. Cade Otton, are we sold on him? What else? Cam Brake retired?
I'm sold on Cade Otton.
I'll throw this out there. I'll throw it out there. What about a Michael Mayer from Notre Dame as a tight end? If you're going to use your tight ends, what about Michael Mayer?
Because Notre Dame does spit out good tight ends. I mean, look what Chicago has, but it only took 3 years to get him to where he's supposed to be.
Okay. Well, people calling him Baby Gronk and then Cade Otton. You put both of those tight ends together. I mean, whoever you have quarterbacking at the end of the day, tight end is the best friend to a quarterback.
Yeah, you got to fix that defensive line, though.
I agree. You got some things you have to fix depending on free agency. Free agency will be to the.
What do you think about trading Shaq Barrett? While he still has some mileage left on the tires, you can get some.
I don't think you can. I don't think you can. Not with the injury history at this point.
$20 million, bud.
They could restructure it, and I think that's where they go. They restructure
way too much.
They restructure that deal. They'll make it cap friendly. He's coming off an injury right now. I still think he has value, but teams are looking.
Oh, so do I. That's why I just said. Did you ever think about trading him?
No.
You're relieving some. It's $20 million. It's a lot of money, Pete.
Yeah, you're still going to have to take that cap hit. I'd rather restructure, keep him around because he definitely has value to this team. All right, let's go out.
If he doesn't get 15 sacks this year, he's got to go.
I think he will never eclipse the 19 sacks. He'll never get close to that. I think if he's a 10 to 12, but remember, he's coming off a pretty bad injury there. So,
but let's go back to the previous years.
Right.
Because everybody was like,
he's got the 19.
God, look at that pass rush.
Sacks, he got paid.
Look at that pass rush. Oh my God, he's almost getting there. Wait a minute. Almost only counts in what? Horseshoes, hand grenades, and shit fights.
Well, there you go. You said shit. So there you go. All right. What's good? What good is it to attack Dean when the D line is in flux, can't get pressure? Good corners look bad when the D line can't get pressure. You got 43 sacks last year.
And fair corners look awesome with a lot of pressure on defense.
It's true,
and by the way, that was the Brady effect too, by the way. Just throwing that out there.
You're going to be down 2 corners already. If you lose Dean, you're going to also possibly lose Sean Murphy-Bunting. So at that point, it becomes an absolute need at 19, which they could go. Jason Light has done this before. He's drafted corners. He drafted Dean. He drafted Sean Murphy-Bunting in the premium round. So it's not far-fetched at the end of the day. Moved Joe Tryon, replaced Levante David, draft edge, pass rusher, linebacker, says Corey.
The problem, you ain't going to get anything for Tryon.
No, there's nothing to move him for. There's nothing. I mean, he's got potential, but he just hasn't shown on the field. He doesn't finish. He needs to learn how to finish. And that will be one of those things that they hired George Edwards from the Dallas Cowboys, who's been around. Interesting enough, they actually interviewed him before BA got the job. So astute coach. He's been around, good defensive coordinators, had Minnesota as one of the top defenses in the National Football League. So sneaky hire once again by Todd Bowles. MK 13, CJ 14, 8 leaving. Agree, John. Good stuff there. Let me go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
I disagree. Bucs front 7 is way more important than the back 4. They will not use the franchise tag at all this year. Dean is good is gone. LBD is a cornerstone player. You can't let him go. Let me go out to the phone lines. Welcome to the evolution of Sports Talk Television. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Okay. Well, that was not good. That was not a good call. So
that was that 900 number you called earlier.
It was not the 900 number.
This guy sucks.
Again, I'm live.
Is this Peter, or are you holding it?
Oh God! You know.
Listen,
I want to know what
Levante.
White hasn't shown he's a special player. And
listen, if Levante David leaves this team, it's going to be devastating for all the players.
I don't think he leaves.
Well, I hope he doesn't. I don't know how they're going to be able to sign him.
They'll figure it out. They'll figure it out. The brain trust over there knows what they're doing. Let's go out to David. I wouldn't trade them bubble gum on the bottom of my shoe for Justin Fields. We already got one injury-prone X-Beard. We don't need another. David, Akeem Hicks and Justin Fields are a little bit different, my friend. I'm sorry.
Akeem Hicks? Really?
Tell
me if you sign him this year when he plays all 16 or all 17 weeks
that's
this year.
The problem, though. That's what David's point is. You go from Sue to Hicks. And then, basically you don't have the availability, if you will. But when he was there, that was a top defense. The problem is, and that's an area where you may have to go and either sign a Hicks or go out and get a defensive tackle at 19. That would be a possibility, or go with what you have. If you're going to trade anyone, it's D. Smith and him and a pick to Chicago for Fields. Justin, I don't think they're going to take that. I don't think, again, D. Smith has a lot of value. But if you would trade him, I guess, Chicago would take Donovan Smith?
Of course. You're always looking for offensive line help, especially left tackles. They got a rookie that was there this year. I think he was a 6th-round draft pick. I'll tell you what, you want to talk about someone that was put out on an island? You needed to watch that kid. Oh, my God.
The Lonely Island, and that would be, what was his name, Tevin Jenkins?
No, Tevin Jenkins actually was scheduled to be the left tackle, then the left guard, and now he's playing on the right side of the line.
Okay. Well, who was the left guy? Who was the guy on the
I'm trying to remember his name. You see, you don't understand, Pete. I get up at 5 a.m. in the morning. It's after 10, and my brain's like...
Look at this one. I got a marriage proposal. Niece says, oh, my God, Peter Blake, marry me. Okay, comment of the night.
Everybody's desperate for somebody. Even she is.
Will you shut up and be quiet? Call the show, honey. Peter is looking for a hookup. Oh, my God. You with your nonsense.
Shut up!
Do you think Locke comes to Tampa Bay? If he does, who starts, Trask or Locke? I think they settle it out, and I think there's definitely an opportunity for Trask and Locke. I think Trask could beat him out. I do. Fields ain't better than Hurts. Fields hasn't even hit puberty yet. Once again, nonsense.
This guy sucks.
Let's go out to trade Kyle Trask for Mac Jones. That's not going to happen. Jimmy G to the Jets, I bet. Jimmy G to the Jets.
Listen, the Jets are going to get one of 3 quarterbacks. Long shot himself, who ain't going anywhere, Aaron Rodgers. Most likely going to be Derek Carr.
Mm-hmm.
And then if door number 3 doesn't open, it's going to be Jimmy G.
And he can't stay healthy. But when he can stay healthy, he would be the perfect quarterback for the Bucs because he can hand the ball off. He has played.
Any quarterback can hand it off, Pete.
He can make throws. He can win. He's won everywhere. He seems like the quarterback that Dave Canales was talking about today. I'm just saying. He's won with the 49ers, can hand the ball off. He can play a game manager. He can make all the throws. He's not going to, make you forget about Tom Brady. But
let me give you a little food to think about.
Sure, go for it.
Brock Purdy.
For who?
I'm just saying. Brock Purdy's for San Francisco. Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah.
I think it has a lot more to do with the system than the quarterback.
I think there's somewhat of a quarterback trait there, too, even though he's picked last. That's a fair point with Kyle Shanahan's, again, quarterback-friendly system. I honestly wouldn't take Jones if the Pats don't want. I honestly would take Jones if the Pats don't want him. Okay. Kevin says he's interesting if he can have weapons. Troy says Harry B hating on Hurts really bad, bro. I don't know. It's kind of funny. I pay David and let Dean test the market. David may only have 2 or 3 years left. He means more to this D than Dean just for leadership. It's a great point. Definitely agree with that.
Oh, yeah.
Although I think Dean's got more potential. He's younger, and it's tough to find corners, although Jason Light has done that in the premier round. I go back and forth on it. I was really interested to hear that the Bucs were considering that because, again, they're in cap hell, and there's no way they can sign anybody. They're not going to be able to do business by March 15th. They will be able to do business. Cuts Levante David. Dude has been a ghost since the Super Bowl.
This guy sucks.
It's Levante, David, not Levante. Joey Porter Jr., Penn State DB, says Russ, that guy's out there. Trade Devin White. Nah, you ain't going to trade Devin White. Restructuring Evans and Godwin would save almost $24 million or so. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
That would probably save half of it if you were able to do both of them.
Peter says, Dave says, Peter, your Florida State bias is coming out because of Trask. No, it's not, because again,
yes,
it is not. I told you I'm going to give him a chance. Let's give Trask a chance if that's where the Bucs are going.
I can't believe this. I wish I knew how to do video editing.
And I can do this. You ready? Here's full screen. If the Bucs go with Kyle Trask as the starting quarterback, I'm going to give it a chance. All right. I hope that they put the weapons around him. Although I have my doubts, and I'm not necessarily sure because the guy's only thrown 9 passes in the league at this juncture, I still think the Bucs would be better off with a veteran option. There you go. Now, edit
So what other weapons do they need? You're talking about offensive line. That's it. They don't need weapons. They need starters for the
I still
offensive
think you need
line.
a third wide receiver if you decide to move on from Russell Gage.
I think he's currently on the wash. I think they find that in the draft. I'll be honest with you. If they pick somebody up,
They need speed. They definitely need speed. Let's go watch Roger Shoe. Great job, Pete. Thank you very much, Roger. Gold Knowles, Gators are ass.
Oh, yeah.
Justin says Lawan is actually talking about retirement. I was reading about that, doing a podcast now. So he's undecided and then also off injured. I don't know. Lawan, so, I mean, it's interesting in itself where his head is at. Should leave Tristan where he is, says John. Justin says Peter Skronowski, baby, from Northwestern. I don't know if he's there. I think the Bears would actually have a lot of interest in him. He may go top 10. Watch that name, but good stuff there, Justin, as always.
Flawless victory.
Another person that agrees with me.
I agree with you, Harry. I think we're going to be a run-first team because the only true pass-blocking offensive lineman is Tristan Wirfs. Good point. You're still going to have to pass the ball here, but absolutely can do that. Roger says Donovan's got CTE. Come on, let's not spread rumors.
This guy sucks.
Peter, I'm buying your trash jersey. Do whatever you want to. I'm not accepting it from you at all. I don't know how to get this off the screen here. What is that? Oh, hold on a sec. Oh, there we go. All right, let's see here. Justin says Peter Skoronsky or Paris Johnson Jr.
Well, both of them are good, but Skoronsky is supposed to be the better of the two.
Robert Hansey there at left tackle. I don't know about that. Cam
Not
Jordan.
long enough.
Love to see D. Smith stay. John Pearson, D. Smith needs to be held accountable at all times. Got to have an O-line coach that will coach, mentor, and motivate his ass to stop holding the team back. Good comment.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go out to Christopher. Put Luke Gedeke at right tackle or keep it the way it is. Restructure Smith. I mean, that could be what you do there. Go with Tristan Wirfs at left tackle. Go with Luke Gedeke because that's his natural position. Wasn't good at left guard. Maybe he's better at right tackle. Let's go out to Roger using your second call. Welcome to the Evolution. Welcome back to the Evolution.
All right, Peter.
Yep.
You cannot turn the page on $55 million.
Yep.
And how can you turn down a free Kyle Trask jersey?
I don't want a Kyle Trask jersey from you at all because I know you're not going to do it. And then first, you're not going to be able to. You're going to have to turn the page on $55 million. They're not going to be in cap hell for the whole year. They have to be under the cap by March 15th in order for them to do business. Stop with the nonsense of they're in cap hell. It's going to last forever. They got to make some adjustments. They probably won't spend as much as they did the previous years, but they're going to make the adjustments. They're going to be able to sign some players, make some moves. They're going to be better off next year than they are this year. Okay. Good with that?
I kind of agree with that. Greek, what do you think?
I agree.
Okay. All right. I tell you what, with that being said, Roger, what else?
So no Kyle Trask jersey for Christmas.
No, just get it. When they make the playoffs, he's going to be bugging me to buy him one.
I don't even care at this point. You know,
just get him the Kyle Trask.
Nonsense.
Bro, listen, his Mustang's going to have Kyle Trask's number on it if they make it to the playoffs.
That's exactly what it's going to do, bro. Exactly.
He's going to want his floor mats. One side's going to say Kyle, the other's going to say Trask.
Shut up!
You're an idiot. Both of you are idiots. And that's it. I'm sticking to it.
Greek, I got a guy. I can get you a Kyle Trask jersey, $40.
Sounds good.
There you go.
Peter, I'm going to get you one. You will need a size small or medium.
All right. On that note, goodbye. See you later and have a nice life.
Extra
Anything
small.
else? You shut up and be quiet.
Little piece.
Shut up.
Shut up!
Get out of here, tribal troll. Jeez.
Get out of here, Gavron. See you later.
Let's go ahead and get you out of here. Harry the Greek, go ahead and promote yourself here on the Evolution, my friend.
Thanks for tuning in tonight. And actually, thank you for keeping me on the show this evening, Pete. It's always a pleasure being your co-host. I love hanging out with you on the sports web. Hello to all the people up in Chicago on 1252 Sports. You guys know I'm Harry the Greek. I'm the professional handicapper. Love giving you guys picks. Coming up next week, we're going to start talking a little bit about baseball. We're going to try to get ramped up a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
That's about it.
If I piss you off, I did my job. This is what the back and forth is all about. I'm Harry the Greek, and as I always say, keep your bets low and your returns high. And I'm telling you, Pete, I cannot wait to hear what Ryan Jensen. I'm going to cut clips of it, and I'm going to put it on your show on what he said about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
You, my friend, should get a hold of Blake and make sure he asks him that question. I can't do it tonight. I'm tired. Send him a text. I'd love him to ask that question.
Sounds good, my friend. Thanks a lot for the time. Harry the Greek professional handicapper.
You're the best, Pete. Love you, brother.
So are you, buddy. Love you too, brother. All right, there we go. Let's get him out of there. Let's keep on reading some of these comments, and then we'll get out to the guys here for Turnbuckle Talk. Also talk about the national perspective on sports in general. Open phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Again, the new number, 727-409-7528. Again, 727-409-7528. So let's see. Trade for Davis Mills. John, I totally agree that there ain't much left tackle out there to replace Donovan Smith. Dave, if Roger stays, Love wants out. Agree. Roger, where is Alkek? Rogers is a douchebag. I don't know why you asked about Alkek. Roger Schu's favorite show back in the day was the Alkek show. I don't know. Love wants to play so he can prove what he has and earn a big contract. Kevin, again, I'm on the fence with Love. He is a maybe. Troy says Rays suck. Bring back the Devil Rays.
This guy sucks.
David says what Warren Sapp said was the salary cap is a joke. He said go back and look at what him, Booger, Lynch, Brooks, and all of them were making the year they won the Super Bowl. Exactly. It can be adjusted. It's overblown. I told you that. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but it's a little bit overblown. They're going to get under the cap. They got a plan. Everything isn't ending. The world isn't ending. Roger Goodell's not coming down here with the Gestapo to take Jason Light away because he's over the cap. The IRS isn't going to one Buck place saying, you know what? You're over the cap. You're going to jail. Nothing like that is happening. And I get it. A lot of people, cap hell. Oh my God, it's cap hell. Cap hell. When I hear cap hell, when I hear about the cap, I want to go to hell, honestly. So good stuff there, David. Thank you here. I've been saying trade Shaq Barrett before. He's not worth nothing. He is worth it to this defense. And when he is on this defensive line, he definitely is a presence that can get after it. Now, the question is, David, what kind of value does he have to this team with him coming off the injury? What kind of player will he be? But he definitely has value on this team. Roger says, we're not talking baseball. We will. You can't turn the page on $55 million. You can. The Bucs have shown it before. The Saints have done this before the last 5 years, and they've still been able to be competitive. So there's a will, there's a way. You want to ask an owner, you want to get an owner to squirm. You want to get an owner to go in a fetal position. You know what you say? Show me your books. And not 8 times out of 10, not 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10, they will tell you to go pound sand. They make more money than you think. And if you think the Bucs didn't make any money with the Brady years, you're out of your mind. All right, let's see here. Bucs should be looking at quarterbacks like Case Keenum, Joe Flacco, Teddy Bridgewater. David says, well, we've seen you can't just have nobody or anybody handing the ball off. Look at the 49er playoff game. Troy Polamalu says Tampa Bay will go back to being Tampa Bay. Cam Jordan. Christopher says Tompkins could be the wide receiver 3. We'll see if that happens. Roger says, good night, everyone. God bless you this Lent season. Dave, Nelson is a must-sign back. He's improved every year, and he has great depth, says Anthony Nelson. And David says Warren Sapp said they were in cap hell for like 8 to 9 years, and that one team paid Deion Sanders under the table. Like I said, if there's a will, there's a way. I tell you what, let's go ahead and take a quick break here. Hear from our main sponsor, uwager.lv. Keep it locked here on the evolution of sports talk television, the Sports Web.
uwager.lv, sportsbook, and casino. Sign up today at uwager.lv, the premier online sportsbook, taking wagers since 1998. The most player-friendly lines, weekly juice specials, and a true dime line in MLB. Unique casino platforms with thousands of games. Play poker, high stakes, low stakes, or tournament play. uwager.lv. What we offer: free same-day payouts, customer service and wagering support 24/7, year-round, free monthly rebates on your action and daily casino rebates, contests, free bets, best bonuses, and giveaways. Generous referral program. Get an 80% free play bonus on your first deposit, up to $1,000. Sign up today, and use promo code SPORTSWEB. Remember, you can't win if you don't play.
All right, welcome back to the evolution of Sports Talk Television. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. Let's get out to our guest here for Turnbuckle Talk. Get a little national perspective, if you will. Former XPW announcer, of course, Sirius Radio, XM Sirius Radio, Mancini Media, the madman himself, Mr. Mark Mancini. Welcome to the evolution. How you doing tonight, my friend?
The show that is sweeping the country. I keep telling you that. It's a throwdown in Tampa. And we just missed Harry the Greek. I am calling my shot.
Yes.
I'm trying to get the dead crow out of my mouth after
by the way, disclaimer here on the Sports Web.
Yeah.
This is from the world's worst. We will go from one of the best handicappers to one of the worst handicappers in the United States here in the world, Mr. Mark Mancini. What do you have to say here?
You are definitely borrowing that phrase from Fred Wall and from XM. But I will tell you this, Cody Bellinger is my National League MVP. Get your hard hats ready.
Okay.
In Wrigley, baby.
And Wrigley. All right, good stuff there. Let me get out to this guy right here, Pittsburgh's forgotten son. He is the bodyguard of the Berg, Mr. Ralph Williams. Welcome to the evolution. How are you doing tonight, my friend?
I'm doing good, Peter, man. It's great to be back, man. It's great to be on the show.
You missed a couple of days here, and it's good to have you guys back. Let's go ahead and talk a little wrestling here, Turnbuckle Talk. But first and foremost, got to get your sense, because we haven't really had an opportunity to talk about this. What do you think about what the Bucs are doing right now, Mark? From a national perspective, do you think they're going to roll with the Kyle Trask, or are they going to go with the veteran quarterback like a Jimmy G, like a Derek Carr? I mean, how do you see this playing out, my friend?
Yeah, I think, you got one of those Cowboy assistant coaches. I think it was the running backs coach.
Skip Pete, yes.
You pried him away from Dallas, and I think what you're going to see in Tampa is they're going to get a good journey guy in there. I think it could be a Derek Carr. I'm really excited, because I think Tampa has what it takes. The NFC is going to be wide open. If Aaron Rodgers decides where, I think he'll go to the Jets, that whole division. And I don't know if the Lions can really pick up the pieces 8 months later after everybody, thought they were the next coming of, sliced bread. But I'm getting excited in Washington, man. Corey Bieniemy, you talk about Pittsburgh's forgotten son. This guy is the forgotten coach. And
Eric Bieniemy, and we didn't get a chance to talk about that. Yeah. Congratulations getting an offensive coordinator job.
I think
he should have got a head coaching job. I mean, let's talk about that here, Ralph. And what do you think about Eric Bieniemy getting hired by the Washington Commanders as their offensive coordinator? And I'll tell you right now, I think that Ron Rivera could be on the hot seat, and Bieniemy could take his job eventually, be in line for it.
Yeah, I said that on my show last night on Sports Corner with Smoke and Jim Frazier, and I said that I think Ron Rivera's walking on eggshells, and Bieniemy could get that. Probably will be bumped up to head coach. It's a job that he's wanted for a while. The rumors I heard was it was a bad interview. That's why he could never get a head coaching job. But if I am Eric Bieniemy, I probably would have stayed with Andy Reid. He's making a lot of money in Kansas City. He was making almost $5 million. So, I mean, I don't think I'd want to give that up to go and take a lateral move and go to the Commanders unless he really knows something that maybe Daniel Snyder or whoever hired him might know and said it to him. Like, oh, well, Ron Rivera's on eggshells, or if he loses 5 games, he's gone. There has to be something there that brought Eric Bieniemy guys to the Commanders, because the way I see it, I wouldn't have took a lateral move like it. There has to be something in there, guys. There has to be something that's guaranteeing him he'll be the head coach. The only thing I can think of is Ron Rivera's on eggshells.
No, I think you're right about that. With new ownership, it's not necessarily their guy at the end of the day. There's talk of Jeff Bezos taking over with Jay-Z and Matthew McConaughey. All right. I mean, can you imagine those three owning the Washington Commanders? I think they could do a lot better than Daniel Snyder, that's for sure.
Matthew McConaughey will be doing Lincoln commercials.
Hey, Peter, how about our good friend Kelsey Nicole Nelson? Will she be on?
Yeah. Well, I tell you right now, she definitely needs to cover that team. She does a hell of a job. Congratulations to her and all her success, because she's a superstar, and we'll definitely have her back on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. With that being said, you talked about Aaron Rodgers. You think, Mark, that he's going to the Jets. Why do you think he's going to the Jets?
Well, I'll tell you, the dude has ice in his veins. Nothing rattles him. And if somebody can, take New York over and not let it bother him like these other quarterbacks have had. Joe Namath had ice in his veins. I think, Aaron Rodgers fits that scenario. And, it's a win now scenario as well, too. They got all the pieces of the puzzle there. I know I got some good friends that are Jets fans, and they think they're going to be in Vegas next year representing the AFC. And, it's going to get really interesting. But if he goes there, boy, the Jets, I got to like the Jets' chances of getting into the AFC championship game, to say the least.
I definitely like the chances, even though it's a tough division there. You still have the Buffalo Bills, you have the Miami Dolphins, you have the New England Patriots, but definitely an upgrade. And that's exactly, Ralph, what I believe the New York Jets were missing last year, a competent quarterback. I still think Rodgers is pretty good. And with that running game and, of course, that defense, I definitely think that he could handle New York. What do you say?
Yeah, I believe he can. I believe he'll make them better. Of course, Aaron Rodgers can make any team better. The way I see this is he's going to be it's a change of atmosphere for him. And sometimes that's what you need. I mean, look at Tom Brady. He went to Tampa Bay from New England. He needed to change the scenery, change of plans, won a Super Bowl. So who knows? Maybe this will be Aaron Rodgers' opportunity to at least change the scenery, help Robert Saleh get that team back up and moving. And they got Nathaniel Hackett up there as their offensive coordinator. That's he was the offensive coordinator with Green Bay. So it's a win-win situation for Rodgers if he goes up there.
Final say here, gentlemen. Where does he end up? Does he end up with the Jets? Does he stay with the Packers? Or does he go to the Las Vegas Raiders? Mark, go.
Well, he's going to go to the Jets. I think that's the win situation right off the bat. And just to throw something in, if I can, a lot of people that are bashing Tom Brady not going out on top. Hell, he won the division. I don't care if he won the division with 8 wins, 9 wins, whatever. He won the division. He went out on top in my book. Best quarterback ever.
Good stuff there, Mark. Finishing strong as always. Ralph, what do you say? Does he stay with the Packers? Does he go to the Jets? Or does he make a surprise and go to the Raiders?
I wouldn't go to the Raiders. You couldn't pay me to go to the Raiders. Josh McDonough down there, he doesn't know how to deal. He doesn't know how to coach his way out of a paper bag down in Las Vegas.
I tend to agree with you on that, although you do have his old running mate there in Devontae Adams, so that's certainly a possibility at the end of the day. Real quick, we haven't talked about this. What did you guys think about the XFL? 24,000 in San Antonio. That was the highest across the board. Everybody else, 12,000. In your opinion, can the XFL and their attendance improve from 2020, or is it going to go down, in your opinion, Mark?
No, I think it's going, it'll do something. We got The Rock involved in it and everything. And, everybody goes, well, Pittsburgh ain't in this thing. I said, well, that's okay. I take all the names, throw them in a hat, pull one out. So I'm going to follow the Houston team this year because that's the name I pulled out of the hat.
Okay. So all right. Houston Roughnecks, right?
Houston Roughnecks, man. That's who Mancini's hitched his wagon to.
I know you covered the USFL before here, Ralph. What about the XFL?
Right.
Can they succeed, in your opinion?
I got something for you. Last night on Sports Corner with myself and Smoking Jim, someone came on the comments section who's a steady watcher of the show and said to me, and I quote, "Why don't you do a weekly XFL show?" And you know what? I just might.
All right. Good stuff.
I just might.
Watcher of that. That's great.
But I like the fact that the XFL not only has former Steeler players, coaches, and some former Steeler players from last year's roster playing for the XFL.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a bunch of guys. I could give you a whole list of Jim Hazlitt's with Seattle. He was a defensive coordinator under Bill Cowher. I could name you a bunch of people. Martavius Bryant, he's a player. Kalen Balaj, Martavius. I could name you a bunch of guys. Mateo Durant, from last year. So I mean, there's players and there's coaches. Rod Woodson, Hines Ward, Joey Porter is a coach, is an assistant coach. Tim Lewis is an assistant coach. All guys that at one time or another coached and played for the Steelers.
All right, love it. Let's go out to Tim here. Rodgers goes to the Jets. He might be the first quarterback to lose an NFC and AFC championship game. That's certainly possible, Tim. Good comment right there.
Yeah.
And Cole says, wow, McDummo, that's great. That was a great comment. And also Paxton Lynch, who started for the Orlando team. I can't think of their name right now, but he is the first quarterback in XFL history, USFL history, NFL history, and CFL history to be benched. I'm not lying.
Oh, Paxton Lynch is a bum. Oh, my gosh. Wow.
By the way, let's add another quarterback I would take over, or I would take instead of I would take Kyle Trask over Paxton Lynch. All right, there you go.
Well, and not only that, when you're looking at quarterbacks, I was on the thing earlier talking about Daniel Jones, Peter, and Ralph.
$45 million. The report is he wants $45 million. Now, look, he's got all the potential in the world, and I've been very critical of Mr. Jones, but he did cut down on the turnovers this year. He has lots of potential, but guys, $45 million.
It's only 1 year.
New York Giant quarterback.
Yeah, that's
1 year.
The money is crazy, but you know what? Sometimes they see in life, if in order to move up, you got to move on. Do not move on away from Brian DeBoll there.
No.
He has turned quarterbacks around in New England and Buffalo. Stay put, take less money, and you'll be something. If you stand there and check the uncharted waters, be careful. There could be sharks.
You said DeBoll is the day ball.
He's trying to see the forest before the trees, guys. It's as simple as that. Mark and Peter.
All right, sorry.
You can't see the forest before the trees. I mean,
And then Lamar Jackson possibly being franchised, he could make an upwards of $60 million a year. So, Mama, let your baby grow up to be a quarterback, especially an NFL one, because they're definitely going to get paid. All right, let's talk about turnbuckle talk here. WWE coming off Elimination Chamber. General thoughts here, Madman, former XPW announcer of that event. I thought they did it right. Great match between Sami Zayn and, of course, Roman Reigns. I think everybody anticipated that Roman was going to come out with the title, which he did. He's held it for over 900 days here. But your general thoughts of the pay-per-view, my friend?
I think it was great. And, I thought maybe another screw job in Montreal, because the last time we were there was Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels. So, yeah, it was a great job. So we didn't get the screw job, but we got the Usos coming in. I think the real thing here is what the hell is going on with the Usos? We know eventually the tag team champs are going to be Zayn and Owens. But what the hell is the lone wolf Baron Corbin doing back in this thing going against Sami Zayn?
And I have no idea what they're doing with Baron Corbin. Your thoughts here, Ralph, on Elimination Chamber?
I thought it was okay. I thought the Lesnar Lashley match could have been better.
Terrible. That was a terrible.
Yeah. I thought that could have been a better match. I thought it should have been a better. That was the match I picked for this, because I thought them two were going to go, but it was just going to go really. I mean, like they were going to beat each other up, and it was good, and somebody was going to win. But to go down with a disqualification, it was a bad match. I didn't like it. And now there's rumors going around they could be fighting again or even teaming up, because Bray Wyatt wants Lashley and Lesnar now. So
Peter,
I mean,
did you have anything to do with the Rolex reporter and Logan Paul there knocking off the greatest Seth Rollins?
Well, that's his brother now, Logan. Now
I know.
But him coming in was impressive, and I think on Seth Rollins. And look, you can say whatever you want to about the Paul brothers, but they're extremely talented. Logan definitely deserves to be in that ring. And I'm excited to see him go against the Seth Rollins. And I think you should see that. And, he used his own move, of course. And I like that. And then you have Austin Theory. I think Austin Theory will eventually face John Cena. That's the matchup that they're going A-Town down. But look, going back to Sami Zayn here, of course, he fell short. According to Wrestling Observer Radio, some higher-ups in WWE pushed for Zayn to win the match and the title. Wow. WWE stuck with Reigns and his 900-plus day run as a world champion. Dave Metzler said some people in WWE had a very, very strong feeling that Zayn winning would have been the right move. However, continued by saying he was told by the powers that be, Vince McMahon, sorry, were not even considering the possibility of Zayn winning leading up to the event. And again, there's the rumor that Vince is involved with creative, because I don't know what was worse the other night. We'll get back to the Zayn thing in a moment. The match between Brock Lesnar and, of course, Bobby Lashley, or the announcement that it's going to be who? Almost?
Yeah, almost.
Against Brock Lesnar?
Brock Lesnar.
Who wants to see that? Nobody wants
Nobody.
to see
that. This guy.
Where's they could have brought out the Great Khali, and that would have been on the same level.
Great Khali is a better wrestler, okay?
Yeah.
He is. Almost. I don't know what his name is, but he can't wrestle. He's a big guy. He can't wrestle. It's not a good match. Who wants to see that?
Peter, it was supposed to be Brock Lesnar versus Gunther at WrestleMania. Gunther was gonna lose the belt. Now, all of a sudden, we got Brock Lesnar fighting Bray Wyatt and fighting everybody else now. So it's like the world against Brock Lesnar,
Yeah, I don't get it. All right, go back to
who's a face. You don't know who's a heel, but I will tell you, I'm really getting sick and tired of, and I wish Dominic Mysterio would spend a year in jail. I'm so tired of hearing what happened to him in jail.
That's the worst gimmick of all time.
I know it is. Yes,
that is right up there with David.
Yes.
As a wrestler. You know what I'm talking about in WCW, trying to take
Yep, I remember that.
I remember those.
He's a terrible wrestler. Dominic is at least good, but he's terrible on the mic. It's a terrible gimmick. It's not funny.
It's the Iconics.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. It's worse than that. All right, going back to Zayn. Do you feel like the writers made the right decision with going with Roman Reigns over Zayn? Or should they have capitalized on that? Because you have Montreal in the palm of your hand. Zayn is absolutely over with the crowd. I mean, should they have given him the title?
Well,
no, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
No.
I think Reigns should hold it. And I know you guys feel very strongly, and I know everybody says it could happen at WrestleMania where, Cody Rhodes can pull it because he needs it. But you know what? Sheamus needed an Intercontinental Championship that he never got. He might have a chance to pull it from Gunther. So I like it's got to be somebody huge that has a lot of prestige to pull that belt from Reigns, or I just don't see it. And I've always said it'd have to be somebody like The Rock, but then The Rock would be a part-time guy, and then he'd have to drop it. But it'd have to be somebody like him. I mean, Zayn wouldn't pull it from him. I didn't think Zayn would pull it in Montreal on him.
I got a prediction. I think The Rock is going to do a year thing with Roman Reigns. I think that's going to be the last match. It's going to be next year. It's not going to be this year. I think he'll make an appearance. I think that's what they're selling. But at the end of the day, maybe not, because I still think Cody goes over. I think it's a great story. Cody wins the title. Maybe Reigns goes off into Hollywood. Somehow, some way, The Rock is going to be incorporated into WrestleMania in Hollywood. He's got to be. I mean, you've got a golden opportunity here.
Well, not only that, where is the next few WrestleManias? We've always heard it was always 3 years out when they did it. Dallas last year, this year it's LA. Where's it after LA?
I believe it's Vegas. I think it's Vegas.
Yeah.
I believe it's Vegas. Ralph,
at the Legion Field or Legion Stadium.
Yep, Legion
Super Bowl site.
Yep. Ralph, what do you think? Zayn over Reigns, or would you like to see? Did you like to see Zayn over Reigns, or Reigns? Did they make the right decision here?
I think they made the right decision, Peter, because the reason I say this is because the match for WrestleMania is going to be they wanted it to be Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes, and then you're going to have Zayn teaming up with Kevin Owens, and they're going to go up against the Usos. So what's going to happen is you're going to see the dissolvement of the bloodline. because with the Usos losing, Roman Reigns losing, and maybe I don't know what they're going to do with Sikoa. Probably nothing. I don't know. If they do something with him and he loses, that's the end of the bloodline. So that's what I think is going to happen. That's my prediction there.
I think they eventually have to. Let's go on to the comment here. You're exactly right. $45 million for Daniel Jones is laughable. Says Christopher Cole. Good comment as always.
Yeah.
Guys, I don't know if you watched this the other night on A&E. They did a documentary on the NWO.
Oh, I loved it.
First and foremost, what do you remember what you were doing July 1996, Mark?
That was the bash at the beach.
That is correct. And how surprised were you that the third man was Hogan? Because, guys, originally at the time, the plan was, because they didn't even know it, and they talked about this on the documentary, which I thought was interesting in itself. Kevin and Scott, when he was alive, they didn't even know if Hogan was in by 5:30. They could have changed it and gone with Sting. The original plan was to go with Sting first and foremost. Mark, how surprised were you that Hogan was the third man?
Yeah, that was a surprise because he took it all the way up, and they still didn't know right when the thing went off. And then him coming down, donning the black, man, that was unbelievable. Well, the yellow and then going the black route with it. I mean, the floor, I think he floored the referee too, didn't he?
Well, he threw the referee out of the ring, and it's interesting because Scott Hall and Kevin Nash relayed this story. Scott Hall actually told Hogan to have the referee count, and Hogan didn't listen to him. And they didn't even like each other when they were doing promos. Because Hogan at the time was trying to do brother, 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 and they're like, no, we ain't doing this. We're not doing it like this. I was shocked, but Bobby the Brain Heenan gave it away. And it was such a great foreshadowing. He was such a great announcer. I remember meeting him, of course, passing away from cancer, unfortunately. But he said, is Hogan the third man? What side is he on? What side is he on? And then he makes the great statement, Hulk Hogan has turned his back on WCW. That gives you still chills. Ralph, where were you in 96 July bash at the beach, and how surprised were you that Hogan was the third man?
I was at home watching it, and I was very surprised. I used to get the WCW pay-per-views because I actually thought they were a little bit better than WWE's at some point. So I used to get theirs. I watched it from home, and I was really surprised and shocked as to what happened. And, but it was great. I watched the biography on Sunday as well. And it was interesting to see how Hulk Hogan ended up becoming a heel and going in that direction. And he actually admitted that it actually worked for him. And it turned out to be, something that did something different to his career.
Yeah, because they were booing him at the time. I mean,
they
kept on booing him, and it was stagnant. And at that point, he needed to try something. And NWO really nearly put the WWE out of business, WWF at the time.
Well,
I think looking back at it, and everybody always wants to talk about the collapse of WCW and how they went under. The biggest disappointment in this documentary, and I forgot it because it was such a great buildup, right? You had Sting versus Hulk Hogan, and of course Sting was doing the Crow gimmick. You had a year of them promoting that, and then basically the match in Washington D.C. was it was a flop. I mean, it was, and the story was by Bischoff, and it was by Bischoff or Hogan, is that it was supposed to be a fast count. It wasn't a fast count. Then they had to bring out Bret Hart. The match was underwhelming. There were rumors that Sting didn't look great that time. He didn't have a spray tan. He just didn't look like he was. And Hogan had creative control. And even Kevin Nash during the documentary.
Yeah, I didn't know that until I watched this. Yeah.
Well, he's always had that. He had that when he laid down for Jeff Jarrett, or when Jarrett laid down for him and Hogan went home. Hogan's always been a politician when it comes to, backdoor politics when it comes to the wrestling business. He's one of the greatest, but he's also a politician. But that buildup in itself, I think, was probably one of the worst events in WCW history, because after that, nobody cared. Nobody cared about the story because Sting didn't go over like he should have. The match was set up for him to go over. He won, but there was nothing afterwards. And then they split the NWO up. Go back to that match. I mean, how disappointed were you, Mark, that you didn't get that, like you're getting right now with this storyline?
I think you're absolutely right, Peter, and you touch on a lot of things. But when you looked at the WCW, I don't know if it reminded you as much as it reminded me of the USFL when it first started. You had billionaires coming in there with Trump buying up the Buck Blues, the Herschel Walkers, and the NFL kind of looked at it and said, wow, they're taking all their number one picks right off the bat. You had Jim Kelly and all that. Right. Well, Bischoff did a great job of pulling Hogan and trying to get some of the guys out of WWE. But, you know, when you looked at it, I as much as I like Eric Bischoff and Paul Heyman to run organizations like he ran ECW, you know, you just didn't have the resources or anything to take down the McMahons. And that was the big problem there. And even with the NWO and how popular that was and it got over, you alluded to the other one with the Sting match where it was just like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, the buildup of it was awesome. I mean, and everybody thought it was going to be a great match, and it wasn't a great match. And then, you know, again, it had it was supposed to be a fast count. It didn't. They brought out Bret Hart. It was like a screw job thing. You recount.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, it was all convoluted. Ralph, I mean, what did you think of that match? And really, did it contribute to WCW's demise at the end of the day?
Yes, it did, because remember, Peter, in that biography, they said that WCW was winning with the NWO and they lost with the NWO. And that was the match that made them lose with the NWO. That's when the whole company started sinking. And Ted Turner selling his his networks and everything to AOL. AOL not wanting wrestling, Bischoff trying to put a group together to buy it, Vince McMahon buying it. It was a big, huge sequence of events there. And I believe that and then overpaying all these wrestlers, that was another thing that's going on. And let me tell you this right now, guys. 2 years ago, all right, Tony Khan and AEW lost $50 million. Okay. Conan said this, and he said it right. And I'm also friends on Facebook, and I've interviewed a squash wrestler named Bob Cook.
Okay.
Bob Cook told me, okay, simple as this, that AEW right now is reading the WCW book because Tony Khan is overpaying some of these wrestlers, and he's got guys that are sitting around doing nothing, and he's paying them. And now I found out from a rumor I heard that his family's starting to haul him to the carpet now, and he's going to be starting to cut wrestlers just like WWE is, because he's got to trim the fat down. Because once again, I heard last year they lost money. Now, I don't know what the figures are, but I heard they lost money again, and it was in the millions. So 2 years in a row, he's lost millions and millions of dollars. Yep. So, that's what Bob Cook said to me. He said, Ralph, he says, I'm going to tell you this right now. AEW is reading the WCW book.
Well, and I think, then that's the thing. You have all these resources and all these wrestlers, but at the end of the day, you also have to be able to put them out in good matches, and you have to have these storylines. You have this excess of wrestlers, and basically somebody gets left behind, and then you talk about cutting the fat. Now, the talk is with WWE, they're looking at Switchblade Jay White, who could be possibly one of the best wrestlers out there, could go to AEW or WWE. This was thrown out there, guys, and this would be a critical blow, and even Booker T talked about this. But Kenny Omega could be on the radar for
the Young Bucks.
Right. First and foremost, Switchblade Jay White going to WWE. Do you think Triple H could put him over and make him a star? He's already a star. Could you make him a bigger superstar with WWE, Mark?
I don't know. I'd be kind of leery going to WWE if I was a big superstar in another federation, because I think in the WWE, guys, you kind of get lost in the shuffle in more ways than one. It reminds me almost like a 15-minute car chase.
Sure.
Look around, guys. I mean, where the hell is Karrion Kross, the guy I like?
Yeah.
I mean, in LA Knight, I mean, they just fluctuate, these guys.
Buried.
We brought back Bray Wyatt. Bronson Reed's trying to find himself. I mean, but then we have these derelicts like the Judgment Day on each and every week. I mean,
you love them.
What do they got on the WWE that we're forced to see these clowns?
Well, they've got Finn Balor, they got Rhea Ripley, and they've got I'm trying to think of the guy's name. Let me go on to this comment before we
Damian Priest.
Damian Priest. WCW is doing fine until the finger poke of doom. Let's talk about that. We'll come back to this in a moment. Finger poke of doom. What did you think about it? I understood it. I knew what they were trying to do. but it was such a terrible look. I mean, you have Kevin Nash versus Hogan. I know Nash say Hogan's calling in. He even said it wasn't best for business. It completely crippled WCW at that point. Everybody was ready just to turn it off. Yeah, David Arquette down the road being a world champion, that was a joke. But going back to it, finger poke of doom. What do you remember from that, Mark?
No, just you. I think you just took the thunder out of it. It was. I mean, it felt. It was off a slippery slope from there, basically, because I mean, you called it. It's NWO saved WCW. The end of NWO killed WCW, and that's why Turner backed out. He just said, you know what? And he had unlimited money back then. He had TBS and everything, and he just said, that was it. But yeah, the finger poke of doom, that was it. That was, having Hogan and Nash, and it just ridiculous.
And having Russo a part of it. And
Vince Russo, right.
Very creative. And then the loss of Chris Jericho, Dean Malenko, Eddie Guerrero, and Chris Benoit at the time. You lose all those wrestlers. They show up on WWE, and then Chris Jericho on top of it. And that was the problem with WCW, right? It was a great plan, like shock all to WWE, take their former superstars. But what WWF did at the time, they developed the younger guys. They developed Stone Cold. They had Shawn Michaels and Triple H and The Rock and all these guys in that Attitude Era. They were edgy. And
Y2J problem, remember that?
I remember it, and they were so good at developing those guys, and it's completely crazy to think that Triple H at one time was in WCW. It's completely crazy to think that The Undertaker was in WCW. And they all went to WWF. They all developed into the stars. And then, of course, Stone Cold, which is the one that set it off for the Attitude Era. And who didn't like that storyline? Everybody hates their boss to a certain degree, right?
That's right.
Identify at
that was the genius of Vince McMahon right there.
Correct. And after the screw job that created the Mr. McMahon era. Talk about the finger poke of doom there, Ralph.
Yeah, I thought that was the downfall of WCW. That clown Vince Russo. And you know what's interesting? God. Vince Russo, if it wasn't for Vince McMahon, Vince Russo wouldn't be where he was then. And then on top of all that, when he had to go out on his own to try to do something, he was lost. He was like, a lost soul swimming in a fishbowl. And, so that's what happened there. That was the worst hire of them all. And then later on, Vince Russo, Eric Bischoff, and Hulk Hogan all end up on TNA and ran TNA into the ground. So, I mean, that was bad. So, I mean,
the
Vince Russo
was not just Vince Russo, and I still think that Vince sent him in there to ruin WCW to a certain degree.
That might be the case, but nobody's going to tell you that.
You know what the worst? You know what the worst hire was, guys?
What's that?
Bret Hart.
Oh yeah, that was.
Yes.
Bret Hart was the worst. And look, at the time, he was a great wrestler. He was over. They had no idea what to do with him. They had no idea. And it goes back to what we talked about, guys, with AEW. As they're getting all these wrestlers. They don't know what to do with them. All right, going back to Kenny Omega. He could be a free agent, and this has been rumored. Booker T was talking on his Hall of Fame podcast. He says, of course, they can recover from it, but losing someone like Kenny Omega, that would be a big loss. That would be huge. That really would, just because he was one of those guys who put that thing all together. He's one of the brains behind AEW. I don't know how many years Kenny Omega has left in the ring. WWE would make Kenny Omega's star shine brighter than any other place he could ever be in. If Omega was to sign with WWE, he would likely be presented as one of the biggest stars and potentially work at WrestleMania. What do we think? Kenny Omega and WWE with Triple H and how creative he is. We already seen Cody Rhodes. Never say never, right? So Kenny Omega and WWE, do you buy this, Mark?
I'm not buying it because we all saw how big this other guy was going to be in WWE coming over, Keith Lee, and boy, how the mighty have fallen. So I'm not really buying it until I know that they can sustain it. And, we all talk about Roman Reigns, but, a lot of people are saying he is the top heel of all time across the board, holding that belt for so many years, but I don't know if Omega can be it. I just don't see it, guys, because I've seen so many of the Keith Lees come over and fizzle that I don't know. I don't know what your thoughts are on it, but this is one man's opinion on it.
I'll tell you this. I think Kenny Omega, if he left AEW, that would be the death blow to that organization because he is one of the founding fathers. And then you would have talks about the Young Bucks eventually going. And I think eventually,
Young Bucks.
if AEW can't sustain, and this is the bad part about it, like I don't want AEW to go out of business, but because WWE is such a global sensation and they have all these people and they've been, they've had their fans and they have this universe and they have these established stars. You want two wrestling companies, but at the end of the day, they are so powerful. Ralph, in your opinion, Kenny Omega to WWE, is that a win for them?
It is, because let me explain something to you. The Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks are executive vice presidents, but they don't have the power they used to have. Why do you think Cody Rhodes left?
Yeah.
He got disgusted with Tony Khan. Tony Khan decided that when he stepped in and started taking over things, you notice things have gone down the toilet pretty much a little bit for AEW. And it's getting to the point now to where there's guys leaving that they want out of their contracts, they want to leave and go. But let me say this about Jay White a little bit and Kenny Omega and all these folks. Take a look right now. You have freedom in AEW. You can go to ROH, which is owned by Tony Khan. You can go to Impact. You can wrestle in the independents. Right. You have more freedom. If you go to the WWE and you sign that contract, you can't go nowhere else. Right. And then you're stuck. If you're not put into the creative part of things, guys, you're stuck there, and then you have to eat it. So, I mean, what I'm saying is, if I'm Omega, I would really think about this before I go to WWE. I would probably, if I'm Omega, I would probably stay with AEW or weigh my options and go somewhere else. I mean, he did well in Impact with Don Callis as his manager and things like that. He could go back down there and work with Scott D'Amore and all them down there. So, and then travel around, go to, New Japan like he did before. He doesn't have to be at with the WWE, because I'm telling you, everybody, including the janitor, cannot go anywhere else and work.
The intention of getting into the professional wrestling business, always the goal, and even Cody talked about this when he returned, is you want to get to the pinnacle. The pinnacle is
yes, but is it going to happen though? See, that's the thing. You have to look at it that way.
If they want to make it happen, and AEW is not able to pay him, and just for the simple fact of exploring, and even Sting talked about this. Like, he should have went a long time ago, but he wasn't sure how creative would have treated him, which is a fair point. But at the end of the day, everybody always ends up back in WWE if you want to be a part of the pinnacle. We're on Turnbuckle Talk here on The Evolution. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with the madman himself, Mr. Mark Mancini, former XPW announcer and Pittsburgh's forgotten son, the bodyguard of the Berg, Mr. Ralph Williams. All right, let's go into some of these other rumors here. Let's see. A rumor apparently went around about Ace Steel. Why is that significant, boys? Being at the Royal Rumble to negotiate CM Punk's return to WWE. The Wrestling Observer newsletter says that Steel wasn't at the Rumble and that Punk is still under contract to AEW. Gentlemen, I talked about this. The way you want to, if you want to get AEW back, and you want to make this a storyline where you're like, oh my God, this is must-see TV, you got to bring back CM Punk with happen. Because I say right now, if WWE signs him, he's must-see TV. There are so many matches there at the end of the day, and with the Heat, with him and Triple H being real, that is must-see TV. If they got CM Punk, I'm telling you right now, AEW would be in trouble. So I think eventually CM Punk will make his way back to AEW. Mark, what do you think?
Yeah, you'd have to bust out the CM Punk t-shirts. You got one of those guys? I got a yellow one hanging around here somewhere. But you definitely have to bust one of the band. Can you imagine? That would be must-see TV, having somebody. You talk about Cody Rhodes.
Yes.
And I've never been a big Cody Rhodes kind of guy. I kind of look at it like Andy Reid of the Chiefs. Yeah, okay, he wins. I'm not a big fan of it. But you give me a CM Punk versus a Roman Reigns. That's better.
My God.
That's better than a John Cena Roman Reigns.
I'll tell you right now, that would be a great storyline. You have Cody versus CM Punk. That's another one. So many avenues here, Ralph. You could go with CM Punk coming back to WWE, but do you eventually
Bray
think
Wyatt.
AEW with CM Punk? What do you say? CM Punk back in AEW, or does he eventually go back to WWE? I don't think it's I do not. I never say never, because I heard this before. You heard the Warrior would never go back to WWE. He did. Jeff Jarrett would never go back to WWE. He did. I mean, there's been plenty. Bret Hart.
William Regal.
William Regal.
It goes on and on and on. If it's best for business, it's best for business. CM Punk back in WWE, or does he stay in AEW?
I think he goes to the WWE. I think Omega and the Young Bucks go too. The reason I say that is because I think the Tony Khan ship is probably going to sink after this year if he doesn't start, letting the EVPs run the show like they did before. If not, I see all four of them going, and I'd like to see CM Punk back with WWE. He'd be the perfect fit. Some rivalries that they could create with him would be great. I mean, it would be nice to see some rivalries with him.
I think there's something to it, and I'll tell you why, boys, because it's the comments from Seth Rollins. Did you see Seth Rollins at the Comic-Con talking all kinds of trash about CM Punk? There's something there. And I tell you right now, if you can sell that, Seth Rollins and CM Punk, that's a damn hell of a match at the end of the day.
I was going to mention him, by the way.
Sokka, keep your eye on Sokka. She looks like a heel, and I like her style. She might.
Asuka, yeah.
Asuka taking on
Sokka.
You with their names tonight. So
hey, Peter.
I'm not.
Peter.
I don't drink. That's the funny.
Hey, Peter, I got a good one for you.
Yeah.
On Saturday on Blog Talk Radio, my man Doc Greg Ross goes on, and I text Mark to ask him a question before I bought Navage, and he pronounced it Nevage.
Oh,
he pronounced it Nevage.
Right, per fight.
Asuka will beat.
Asuka.
She'll beat.
Asuka, yeah.
Asuka will beat Belair.
I don't think she does.
You don't think so?
No, I think they keep the belt on Belair.
No, Belair's gonna hang. She's she's gonna be the next Roman Reigns. She's gonna have that belt for a while.
It should. She deserves it.
Yeah.
She's a great, talented wrestler. She's done great for
herself.
herself.
She might go farther than her husband's tag team there.
Oh, I'll tell you right now, that kid Montez Ford, he's a star in waiting.
You're the second person that said that. Bob Brooks said that to me. He said the same thing.
Waiting. Yes. The other night. They got to break up that tag team eventually.
They are.
Yeah, but
it's happening because they want individual goals. They have individual goals.
Guys, is he as good? I've seen this scenario play out before. And look at Ricochet. Is he as good as Ricochet?
Yes, he's better.
Okay.
Yeah,
he's better.
Yeah.
He's better on the mic. He's got a gimmick. He can wrestle. He's extremely talented. And that's your future, boys, right there. That's your future. When Roman Reigns moves on, that's your future. It's either Austin Theory, Montez Ford, in my opinion. Just saying, of course, Seth Rollins definitely being in there at the end of the day.
Not the Alpha Academy.
Oh, come on. Hey, Otis is back with the worm, man. Back with the worm. And eating hot dogs.
Distracted the other night by a woman. It's easily manipulated. All right, per Fightful here. WWE is still interested in bringing back the Authors of Pain.
Yes, with Paul Ellering.
Now, Paul Ellering, guys, what is Paul Ellering known for? Ralph, I seen you pop up. So what is he known for there? The manager.
The Road Warriors, man.
There you go, baby.
He's known for the Road Warriors.
There you go. One of the greatest tag teams of all time. Absolutely. Beyond a shadow of a doubt. Mark, yes.
But let me ask you, was he better than the managers Slick, the Iron Sheik, Bobby the Brain? I don't know. I don't really.
Legion of Doom. There's Mike here coming in. LOD, Legion of Doom. Road Warriors.
Yeah.
What a rush. Boots to Roman's face. Of course, they have history because remember, Rock came back, beat CM Punk. They could definitely go with that there. Of course, the cousin of The Rock. I mean, definitely think they could do something like that. So you're exactly right. But going back to it, Road Warriors, Legion of Doom, greatest tag teams of all time.
Hey, I got a dream match for WrestleMania. You ready for the dream match for WrestleMania? Piper Niven versus Nia Jax.
Oh, God. That was terrible.
But you know what? I don't know. I wasn't really a big Legion of Doom. I thought the best tag team was the Hart Foundation.
With
Yeah, they were good. Yeah,
with Owen and Brett, or Jim Neidhart and British
Jim
Bulldog?
Neidhart.
Neidhart.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. By the way, that's a wrestler doesn't get promoted enough. Natty, extremely beautiful.
No, she doesn't.
Seen her.
They don't know what to do with her. They don't know.
Beautiful. She's talented. I don't understand why she has not gotten over. If you're gonna put,
And her husband's in creative, guys.
Nice.
Tyson Kidd, he's working in creative.
I don't understand it. All right,
I
so
don't get that either.
Authors of Pain, you excited about them coming back? I mean, kind of underused by the WWE. Are you excited about them, making an appearance, getting over, or not really doing anything for you, Mark?
Not really doing anything for me. I mean, it might get a big, a shout if they come back at WrestleMania or something. Who knows?
That's what you're getting?
Yeah, I'm not really. It's a yawner for me because I need more of a flair to it. I mean,
you need flair to it. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. What about you, Ralph? And then we'll wrap it up with something else that came out tonight. Go ahead.
I agree with both of you guys, man. No way. I just don't. I don't see it.
All right. With that being said, Sonya Deville and her fitness model Tony Cassano have now engaged to be married. Yes. People has the scoop. The 29-year-old WWE superstar told the magazine she knew her now fiance was the one. The second I saw her, the moment happened at WWE show. So there you go. I proposed, and then Tony's like, grab my purse, and she pulls out a friggin' ring box, and she's like, I've been carrying this around in my purse for 4 months. So whenever you proposed, I could give you a ring immediately back. So congratulations to Sonya Deville.
Oh yeah.
Sonya Deville, is she underused in the women's division, in your opinion, Mark?
She is. I've always liked Sonya Deville. I mean, as a wrestler, and going up against the hierarchy of WWE, let me tell you something. If Sonya Deville wasn't a wrestler, she'd fit in The Sopranos. I think she's a Jersey girl too.
She
Yes, she is.
She definitely looks like, and the woman that she got engaged to looks just like, I mean, it's like twins. It's crazy.
Yeah.
They look
it looks like the Bellas.
Let's say that don't go there. Ralph, your thoughts on Sonya Deville?
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Mark. She's and you too, Peter. She's underused. She hasn't really been pushed since she was tag teaming. So I mean, with Mandy Rose. So it's crazy how WWE wastes talent, and they do it all the time.
And they can, and that's what they can do. I'll tell you what, go ahead and promote yourself here, Ralph, on the evolution of sports talk television, my friend.
You can reach me at RalphWilliams737 at gmail.com, Facebook, Wimkin, Twitter, LinkedIn. Also, check out my YouTube channel for all my archive shows. The way I see it, Sports Corner, Wrestle Talk, Ralph Williams one-on-one, and also Mauler Talk as well. And I'm in the process of working on going on the radio so I can get rid of the Forgotten Son.
Good stuff there, Mr. Ralph Williams, the bodyguard of the Berg, Pittsburgh's true Forgotten Son. Thanks a lot for your time here on The Evolution. All right, my friend.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, good stuff there. Mark, the madman himself, go ahead and promote yourself here on The Evolution.
Thank you. I love this show, the Throwdown in Tampa on Wednesday. So blessed to be a part of it. XM 203, Series 217 with the guys. Then I'm part of the WWDB AM 860 tomorrow. We have Pedro Rivera, KTLA's anchor, on there, so that should be a great one.
Nice.
And Friday on my podcast, sitting down with the 10-year vet Kip Gross, who pitched in the major leagues.
Okay. All right. Getting lots of guests there. Mr. Mark Mancini, the madman himself, former XPW announcer. Thanks a lot for your time here on the Sports Web. All right, boss?
You're the best, baby. You're the star in the making. You are my friend.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. All right, brother. See you later. There you go. The madman himself, Mr. Mark Mancini. So that is it for the night. Over 2-hour sports talk show, whether it was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, around the NFL, quarterback carousel, and, of course, a little professional wrestling. You got to love it. Thanks a lot to all the guests. As always, my co-host, Mr. Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire of 1252 Chicago Sports, the madman himself, Mr. Mark Mancini of Mancini Media, XM Sirius Radio, and, of course, Pittsburgh's Forgotten Son, the bodyguard of the Berg, Mr. Ralph Williams. Give to the effort. YouTube chats are open, of course. Facebook stars. like and follow the Sports Web on YouTube. Like I Love St. Pete, the Hub, and Amped Up Sports. And do 3 things for me here on this happy
Hump Day.
edition of the Sports Web. You ready? Bring your passion. Bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. I'm your host, Peter Blake, your Rolex reporter. What time is it? It's my time. And fans of the Sports Web and Bucs fans, it's your time. Have a great night.